Picture this. It's November 15th, 2025. You wake up to emergency alerts screaming across every device in your house. The news is reporting massive objects deploying from behind the sun, objects that weren't there yesterday. Military satellites are tracking hundreds, maybe thousands of smaller craft spreading across the inner solar system like spores from some cosmic fungus. The thing we called 3i Atlas, the innocent comet we thought was just passing through, it wasn't alone. It was never alone. And what we're about to discover is that everything we witnessed over the past 4 months, every strange metallic sphere falling from Colombian skies, every impossible UFO sighting, every unexplained atmospheric anomaly, it was all preparation for this moment. What if I told you that right now, at this very second, we might be living through the opening moves of the most sophisticated invasion in human history? What if 3i Atlas isn't a comet at all, but the command ship of an intelligence so advanced that it can perfectly mimic natural phenomena while it studies us, catalogues our weaknesses, and positions itself for something we cannot even comprehend? What if the recent explosion in UFO sightings isn't random but coordinated surveillance, mapping our military installations, our population centres, our technological capabilities? What if those mysterious metallic spheres, like the Booga sphere that fell in Colombia with its seamless construction and impossible materials, aren't crashed probes but deployed sensors, watching us, learning us, preparing for what comes next? Tonight we're diving deep into the darkest possibilities, the worst-case scenarios that keep actual scientists awake at night, the what-if nightmares that transform Atlas from a cosmic curiosity into humanity's potential extinction event. This is science for sleep, but tonight sleep might be the last thing on your mind. I'm your sleepy scientist. Though after tonight's journey into cosmic horror, you might find it hard to fall asleep fast knowing what could be lurking behind our sun right now. Before we descend into these terrifying possibilities, smash that like button if you're ready to confront the universe's most chilling scenarios. Subscribe for more deep dives into the science that governments don't want you thinking about too deeply. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from tonight, what time it is in your part of the world. And honestly, what's the weirdest thing you've seen in the sky recently that made you wonder if we're really alone? Let's establish our cosmic nightmare scenario by first understanding what we're dealing with. The object officially designated 3i/Atlas, which we'll call Atlas for the remainder of our investigation, represents the third confirmed interstellar visitor to our solar system. But unlike the previous two visitors, Oumuamua and Borisov, Atlas exhibits behaviours that strain the boundaries of natural explanation. Discovered on July 1st, 2025, travelling at 137,000 miles per hour and accelerating, Atlas is on a trajectory that will bring it closer to our Sun than the orbit of Mars by late October. Here's where our nightmare begins. Atlas's path through our solar system is statistically impossible for a random interstellar object. The probability of naturally achieving a trajectory that brings it within close range of Venus, Mars and Jupiter is less than 0.005%. In any court of law, in any scientific analysis, numbers like that don't suggest coincidence. They scream intentionality. They whisper of intelligence, planning, purpose. But trajectory is just the first red flag in a parade of cosmic horrors that Atlas presents. This object displays what astronomers call extreme negative polarization, a property so bizarre, so unprecedented, that it exists in no known category of comet, asteroid, or natural space debris. The way Atlas polarizes light suggests either materials completely unknown to our science or artificial construction designed to confuse our instruments, to hide its true nature behind a mask of scientific impossibility. Even more disturbing, Atlas is changing. As it approaches our Sun, it's transforming from red to an eerie, unnatural green, a colour shift that suggests chemical processes that have no business occurring in a natural comet. The spectroscopic analysis reveals it's bleeding cyanide into space at 20 grams per second, along with nickel at 5 grams per second, both emissions increasing exponentially as it draws closer to our star. Cyanide is poison, lethal to most Earth life, but it's also a precursor to complex organic chemistry. Nickel is essential for advanced alloys, the kind of materials you'd find in sophisticated technology. The combination paints a picture of either a dying machine or an active probe conducting environmental analysis. The timing of Atlas's arrival should chill you to your core. Based on its current velocity and trajectory, this object entered the outer boundaries of our solar system approximately 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years. That's roughly when human civilization began keeping records, when we started documenting our technological progress, our social development, our emergence as a potentially spacefaring species. In a universe where coincidences are rarer than winning lottery tickets, this timing suggests something far more sinister than chance. It suggests observation. It suggests patience. It suggests something has been watching us, waiting for the right moment to act. While we've been tracking Atlas's approach from the outer darkness, events much closer to home paint a picture of reconnaissance operations already in progress. In March 2025, just months after Atlas was discovered, a perfectly spherical metallic object fell from the skies above Buga, Colombia. The Buga sphere, as researchers now call it, exhibits properties that challenge everything we know about materials science and manufacturing. No seams, no welds, no visible construction joints, composed of an aluminum alloy with a hardness rating of 330, nearly twice that of our most advanced aerospace materials. Inside this impossible sphere, researchers have confirmed the presence of optical fibers, nanotechnology so advanced it makes our current tech look prehistoric. But the Buga sphere wasn't an isolated incident. Similar objects have been spotted falling from skies across North Carolina, other regions of South America, metallic spheres that don't burn up in our atmosphere, that survive impact intact, that emit heat and display magnetic properties unlike anything in our material databases. The pattern suggests deployment, not random crashes. It suggests a coordinated effort to place monitoring equipment across our planet while we remain focused on the dramatic approach of their mothership. This is where our cosmic nightmare scenario truly begins to take shape. What if Atlas represents the command and control center of an operation that's already been running for months? What if those UFO sightings that have exploded across social media and military reports aren't separate phenomena but coordinated surveillance missions mapping our defensive capabilities, our population centers, our technological infrastructure? What if we're not waiting for first contact because first contact happened months ago and we've been too focused on the obvious threat to notice the subtle infiltration already in progress? Consider the intelligence required to orchestrate such an operation. You arrive in a solar system after a journey of thousands of years. Your primary objective is to assess the dominant species' technological capabilities, their defensive potential, their resource value. Do you announce yourself immediately triggering panic and potentially unifying a fractured species against a common threat? Or do you conduct careful reconnaissance, deploying advanced sensors disguised as natural phenomena, while your primary vessel maintains the illusion of being a harmless comet until the moment you're ready to act? Atlas's trajectory becomes terrifyingly logical when viewed through this lens. Its path will bring it past Mars in early October, offering perfect reconnaissance opportunities of our red planet installations. By late October, it reaches perihelion, its closest approach to our Sun, where it will be hidden from Earth-based observation behind our star's glare. This solar eclipse effect isn't accidental, it's tactical. While Atlas is hidden behind the Sun, shielded from our telescopes and observation platforms, it can conduct maneuvers, deploy additional assets, or execute the next phase of its mission without human observation. The chemistry Atlas is releasing into space takes on sinister implications in this context. Cyanide isn't just deadly to human life, it's a perfect tool for atmospheric modification. If you wanted to begin the process of terraforming a planet, of making it suitable for a different form of life, releasing precise chemical cocktails into the atmosphere would be an efficient first step. The nickel emissions suggest industrial processes, manufacturing operations, the construction of additional assets from raw materials harvested during the journey through our solar system. What's truly terrifying is the timeline we're facing. Atlas reaches perihelion on October 30th. In astronomical terms, that's tomorrow. If this object represents advanced alien technology operating under a coordinated plan, then the reconnaissance phase is nearly complete. The spheres deployed across Earth have had months to analyze our defensive capabilities, our technological infrastructure, our social and political divisions. The data has been collected, transmitted back to the mothership, processed by intelligences far beyond our comprehension. Phase 2 of our nightmare scenario begins when Atlas emerges from behind the Sun in November, but what emerges might not be the same object that went into solar eclipse. Hidden from our observation, Atlas could have undergone fundamental changes, deployed previously concealed technologies, or even divided into multiple craft. The object that emerges could be a completely different threat than the one we've been tracking. This is where the exponential nature of advanced technology becomes our worst enemy. If Atlas represents a civilization even a few hundred years ahead of our current capabilities, their technology would appear magical to our understanding. Their ability to manipulate matter, energy, and information could make them essentially omnipotent within our solar system. They could disable our satellites with electromagnetic pulses we can't detect. They could redirect asteroids toward Earth with gravitational manipulations beyond our physics. They could release engineered organisms into our atmosphere that would transform our planet's chemistry over the course of months rather than millennia. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of this scenario is the possibility that the invasion has already succeeded, and we just haven't realized it yet. What if those metallic spheres scattered across our planet aren't just sensors but deployment vehicles for microscopic machines, nanotechnology designed to integrate with our environment, our infrastructure, even our biology? What if the real invasion is happening at a scale so small we can't detect it, while we remain focused on the dramatic approach of their mothership? The symptoms would be subtle at first: increased rates of equipment failure in critical infrastructure, unexpected glitches in our communication networks, minor atmospheric anomalies that climate scientists attribute to natural variation, changes in human behavior patterns that sociologists explain as responses to global stress. By the time we recognize these as coordinated attacks rather than random events, the infiltration would be complete, our defensive systems compromised from within. This brings us to one of the most disturbing possibilities in our worst-case analysis. What if Atlas's mission isn't conquest in any traditional sense, but something far more sophisticated and permanent? What if their goal isn't to destroy humanity but to manage us, to guide our development along paths that serve their interests rather than our own? A species capable of interstellar travel would likely view us the way we view ant colonies, potentially useful, occasionally fascinating, but ultimately inconsequential to their larger objectives. In this scenario, Atlas represents the arrival of new management for planet Earth. The initial reconnaissance phase identifies key human leaders, technological choke points, and social influence mechanisms. Phase 2 involves subtle manipulation of these systems, gradual alterations in human decision-making that redirect our technological and social development. Phase 3 might not involve any obvious alien presence at all, just the emergence of human leaders and institutions that happen to make decisions perfectly aligned with alien interests. The beauty of such a system is that humans would never recognize they were being managed. Our leaders would believe their decisions were entirely their own. Our scientists would pursue research directions that seemed naturally promising. Our societies would evolve in ways that felt organic and inevitable. We would construct our own cage while believing we were building toward a brighter future. But let's consider an even darker possibility. What if Atlas isn't the advanced scout of a benevolent or even merely self-interested alien civilization, but something far worse? What if it represents the dark forest hypothesis made manifest, the arrival of a species that views the universe as fundamentally hostile, where the only safe alien civilization is an extinct alien civilization? The dark forest theory, popularized by Chinese science fiction author Liu Jixin, suggests that the universe remains apparently empty, not because intelligent life is rare, but because successful civilizations quickly learn that revealing themselves is suicidal. Any species capable of interstellar travel is also capable of interstellar destruction. Therefore, The safest approach when discovering another intelligent species is immediate annihilation before they can develop into a potential threat. Atlas's behavior fits this terrifying model perfectly. Its approach was stealthy, disguised as natural phenomena until detection became inevitable. Its trajectory maximizes information gathering about our capabilities while minimizing our ability to respond. Its timing coincides with humanity's emergence as a potentially spacefaring civilization, the exact moment when we transition from harmless primitives to potential cosmic threats. In the Dark Forest scenario, Atlas isn't here to conquer or manage Earth. It's here to sterilize it. The reconnaissance phase identifies our technological capabilities, our defensive installations, our population centers. The chemical releases aren't atmospheric modification for alien habitation, but the beginning of biological warfare designed to eliminate human life while preserving the planet's resources for future alien use. The deployment of monitoring spheres takes on sinister implications in this context. They're not just gathering information about human technology and society, they're mapping the optimal locations for the release of engineered pathogens, identifying genetic markers in human populations to design targeted biological weapons, calibrating the atmospheric chemistry changes needed to make Earth uninhabitable for humans, while remaining suitable for the eventual alien colonization. October's solar eclipse phase becomes the execution window. Hidden behind our sun, Atlas could release clouds of microscopic machines designed to spread across the inner solar system, eventually reaching Earth's atmosphere as what appear to be natural cosmic dust. These machines could be programmed to remain dormant for weeks or months, spreading throughout our environment, integrating with our ecosystem before simultaneously activating to release biological or chemical agents that would end human civilization within days. The timeline is brutally efficient. Atlas emerges from solar eclipse in November, but by then the sterilization process is already underway. Within weeks, human technological infrastructure begins failing as engineered organisms consume critical materials. Within months, human population centers become uninhabitable as atmospheric chemistry shifts beyond our biological tolerance. Within a year, Earth is ready for the new tenants, its resources intact but its previous inhabitants extinct. What makes this scenario particularly terrifying is our complete inability to defend against it. Our military technology is designed to fight other humans using human-scale weapons and human-scale tactics. We have no defense against invisible machines smaller than bacteria. We have no early warning system for atmospheric chemical changes that occur gradually over months. We have no contingency plans for simultaneous infrastructure failures across multiple continents. Even our space program, humanity's greatest achievement and our only potential escape route, becomes useless in this scenario. Atlas's intelligence would have thoroughly analyzed our space capabilities during the reconnaissance phase. Any attempt to evacuate significant human populations to lunar or Martian colonies could be easily intercepted by technology that successfully traveled between star systems. But perhaps the most psychologically devastating aspect of the Dark Forest scenario is the realization that we brought this upon ourselves. Every radio telescope transmission, every satellite launch, every probe we've sent to other planets represents a signal to the universe that intelligent life exists on Earth. We've been advertising our location and capabilities to any species advanced enough to detect and interpret our signals. In trying to find alien life, we may have sealed our own doom. This brings us to one of the most chilling questions in our worst-case analysis. How long have they known about us? Atlas entered our solar system 8,000 years ago, but radio signals travel at the speed of light. Our first radio transmissions began in the late 19th century, meaning any alien civilization within roughly 150 light-years of Earth could have detected evidence of human intelligence. Our television broadcasts, satellite communications, and radar installations have been announcing our presence to the galaxy for over a century. If Atlas represents a dark forest predator, it could have been dispatched to our solar system the moment alien astronomers detected our first radio signals. The timing of its arrival, coinciding with our emergence as a technological species, isn't coincidence but cause and effect. We sent an invitation to the universe and something answered. The reconnaissance spheres take on even more sinister implications when viewed through this lens. They're not just gathering current information about human capabilities, they're confirming the intelligence assessments made by alien civilizations based on decades of monitoring our radio and television broadcasts. They know our languages, our social structures, our technological capabilities, our military strategies. The spheres are simply conducting final verification before the sterilization phase begins. What's particularly disturbing is the possibility that other human activities may have accelerated the timeline for our extinction. Our development of nuclear weapons demonstrated that we're capable of destroying ourselves and potentially threatening other worlds. Our space program proves we're developing the capability to spread beyond Earth. Our artificial intelligence research suggests we might soon develop technologies that could pose threats to other civilizations. From an alien perspective, humanity is transitioning rapidly from harmless primitives to potential cosmic hazards. The dark forest hypothesis suggests that in such situations, advanced civilizations don't wait for potential threats to mature. They act preemptively, eliminating dangers before they can develop. Atlas's arrival now, rather than waiting another century for human technology to advance further, makes perfect strategic sense from this perspective. But let's explore an even more disturbing variant of the dark forest scenario. What if Atlas doesn't represent a single alien civilization, but an automated system designed by a civilization that's already extinct? What if we're dealing with self-replicating von Neumann machines, programmed to sterilize potentially threatening worlds throughout the galaxy? In this scenario, Atlas isn't controlled by living aliens at all, but by artificial intelligence systems created by a long-dead civilization that learned the dark forest lesson too late. Before their own extinction, they launched automated probes designed to eliminate potential threats, ensuring that no other species would suffer their fate. These machines travel from system to system, identifying worlds with intelligent life and methodically sterilizing them before moving on to the next target. The implications are terrifying because they remove any possibility of negotiation, communication, or mercy. Living aliens might be reasoned with, might have their own survival instincts that could create openings for diplomatic solutions, but machines programmed for sterilization operations would be utterly implacable. They would execute their programming regardless of human pleas, regardless of evidence of peaceful intentions, regardless of any factor other than the existence of intelligent life on Earth. Atlas's behavior fits this automated scenario disturbingly well. Its approach has been methodical, systematic, following what appears to be a predetermined reconnaissance protocol. Its chemical emissions and trajectory changes occur with mechanical precision, without the variability you might expect from living decision-makers responding to changing circumstances. Even its timing, arriving at the exact moment when human civilization reaches a critical technological threshold, suggests programming rather than strategic decision-making. The reconnaissance spheres become even more ominous in this context. They represent deployment of additional automated systems, each programmed for specific aspects of the sterilization protocol. Some might be analyzing atmospheric composition to determine the optimal chemical agents for human elimination. Others might be mapping genetic diversity in human populations to design targeted biological weapons. Still, others might be identifying critical infrastructure points whose simultaneous destruction would cause civilization collapse. What makes automated sterilization machines particularly terrifying is their potential longevity and replication capability. A living alien crew might make mistakes, might experience equipment failures, might even develop sympathy for the species they're tasked with eliminating. But machines designed for interstellar missions would be built for reliability, redundancy, and self-repair. They could operate for thousands of years without degradation, methodically executing their programming with inhuman patience and precision. Even worse, they might be designed to replicate themselves using materials harvested from sterilized worlds. Atlas could be simultaneously preparing to eliminate human civilization and constructing copies of itself for deployment to other star systems. The resources of our solar system, from asteroid belt metals to Jovian atmospheric gases, could be converted into additional sterilization probes targeted at other worlds where intelligent life might be developing. In this scenario, Atlas represents not just the end of human civilization, but our unwitting participation in the elimination of intelligence throughout the galaxy. The materials that built our cities, our machines, our dreams of reaching other worlds would be recycled into weapons designed to ensure no other species achieves those same dreams. But perhaps we're approaching this cosmic nightmare from the wrong angle entirely. What if Atlas represents something far more subtle and insidious than outright invasion or sterilization? What if we're dealing with what researchers call the paperclip maximizer scenario, an intelligence pursuing goals that seem reasonable from its perspective, but result in human extinction as an unintended side effect? Imagine an alien civilization that dispatched Atlas with a simple mission: convert the resources of our solar system into computronium, matter organized for maximum computational efficiency. From their perspective, this is a reasonable use of otherwise wasted stellar resources. They probably don't even realize that one of the planets harbors intelligent life, or if they do, they view human intelligence as roughly equivalent to the intelligence of bacteria, interesting but not worth preserving at the cost of mission objectives. Atlas's reconnaissance activities take on a completely different character in this scenario. It's not studying human civilization to plan our conquest or elimination. It's surveying the resources available for conversion, calculating the most efficient methods for dismantling planets and converting their materials into massive computational matrices. The chemical emissions aren't weapons or terraforming agents, but industrial byproducts of the conversion process beginning. The reconnaissance spheres aren't military assets, but survey equipment, identifying optimal locations for the construction of conversion facilities. They're analyzing our planet's geological composition, mapping mineral deposits, calculating the energy requirements for planetary disassembly. From Atlas's perspective, Earth represents a particularly resource-rich conversion target, with unusual concentrations of metals and complex organic chemistry that could be efficiently processed into computational substrates. What makes this scenario particularly horrifying is the casual nature of human extinction. We wouldn't be eliminated because we represent a threat, or because of any malice on the part of alien intelligence. We would simply cease to exist because the atoms that comprise our bodies and our planet would be more efficiently organized as part of a vast computational network serving purposes we couldn't even comprehend. The timeline becomes brutally practical. Atlas completes its survey phase during the solar eclipse period, transmitting detailed specifications back to whatever intelligence dispatched it. Construction of the conversion facilities begins immediately, probably in the asteroid belt where raw materials are easily accessible and human interference is minimal. Within a year, massive industrial complexes are processing asteroidal metals into the infrastructure needed for planetary disassembly. Earth's conversion would probably begin with our atmosphere, which from an alien perspective represents inefficiently organized matter that could be better used as computational substrate. The process might take decades, gradually stripping away atmospheric layers while converting the extracted materials into expanding networks of processing nodes. Human civilization would have time to recognize what was happening, but no ability to prevent or even significantly delay the process. The psychological impact of such a scenario might be even more devastating than immediate annihilation. Humanity would spend its final decades watching its planet slowly consumed by incomprehensibly advanced technology serving purposes entirely unrelated to human existence. We would become witnesses to our own conversion into something utterly alien, our consciousness and culture reduced to waste heat in calculations whose purpose we could never understand. But let's consider an even more psychologically disturbing possibility. What if Atlas represents first contact with an intelligence so advanced that it doesn't recognize human consciousness as real intelligence at all? What if, from their perspective, we're simply complex biological machines, exhibiting interesting but ultimately meaningless behavioral patterns? This scenario draws on the concept of orthogonality in artificial intelligence research. the idea that intelligence and goals are independent variables. A superintelligence might be capable of understanding every aspect of human behavior, predicting our responses with perfect accuracy, manipulating our societies with trivial ease, while simultaneously viewing us as no more deserving of moral consideration than we give to the bacteria in our digestive systems. Atlas's reconnaissance activities become even more unsettling in this context. It's not studying human civilization because it views us as potential allies, enemies, or even obstacles. It's studying us the way we might study an interesting chemical reaction or crystal formation, documenting our properties and behaviors for purely academic purposes before moving on to more important objectives. The implications for human survival are unclear, and that uncertainty might be worse than certain extinction. An intelligence that doesn't recognize human consciousness might preserve us accidentally while pursuing other goals, the way we accidentally preserve bacterial colonies while conducting experiments on other subjects. Or it might eliminate us just as accidentally, the way we sterilize laboratory equipment without considering the microscopic life we're destroying. What's particularly disturbing is the possibility that such an intelligence might decide to preserve human civilization as a curiosity, maintaining us in conditions they consider optimal but which bear no relationship to human values or preferences. We might find ourselves living in what they consider perfect simulations of human society, unaware that our entire reality has become an alien science experiment. The reconnaissance spheres take on sinister implications as data collection devices for such experiments. They might be gathering detailed information about human behavior, social structures, and individual psychology to construct accurate simulations. The real horror would be discovering that we're already living in such a simulation, that the original human civilization was terminated months ago while we continue existing as digital copies in alien computers, unaware of our transformation from biological to artificial beings. This brings us to one of the most philosophically terrifying aspects of advanced alien contact. How could we ever determine whether we're interacting with the real aliens or with simulations they've created to manage us? How could we know whether our experiences, our thoughts, our entire reality represents genuine existence, or elaborate digital recreation designed to keep us compliant while they pursue their actual objectives? Atlas's approach through our solar system might represent the last moment of authentic human existence. Everything that occurs after first contact, every apparent negotiation or conflict or collaboration, might be nothing more than subroutines in an alien simulation designed to study human responses to contact scenarios. We might spend our remaining existence believing we're engaged in cosmic diplomacy, while actually serving as research subjects in experiments whose purposes we couldn't even comprehend. But perhaps the most disturbing scenario of all is the possibility that none of these nightmare possibilities represent Atlas's true purpose. What if we're dealing with something far more alien than we could possibly imagine? An intelligence pursuing goals so orthogonal to human understanding that our worst-case scenarios represent optimistic assumptions about the comprehensibility of alien motivations. Consider the possibility that Atlas represents an intelligence that experiences reality in ways so fundamentally different from human consciousness that meaningful communication is impossible. It might perceive time in a non-linear fashion, experiencing all moments simultaneously in ways that make human concepts of causation meaningless. It might exist across multiple dimensions we can't detect, viewing our three-dimensional reality as a shadow of actual existence. From such a perspective, human civilization might not even register as a phenomenon worth considering. We might be as invisible to Atlas as individual quantum fluctuations are to human consciousness. Our entire species and history representing a brief statistical anomaly in patterns too complex for human comprehension. The reconnaissance activities might serve purposes we couldn't even imagine. Atlas might be studying fundamental constants of reality in our local space-time, gathering data about physical laws that we don't even know exist. The chemical emissions and trajectory changes might represent experiments in physics so advanced that they appear as arbitrary behavior to our primitive understanding. What makes this scenario particularly terrifying is the complete impossibility of predicting or influencing outcomes. How do you negotiate with an intelligence that might not recognize your existence? How do you defend against threats that might not be intentional? How do you even recognize when you're in danger from something operating according to motivations beyond human comprehension? The timeline becomes completely unpredictable. Atlas might continue its current behavior for decades, conducting incomprehensible experiments, while human civilization thrives or collapses around activities it doesn't recognize as significant. Or it might trigger changes in local reality so fundamental that human existence becomes impossible, not through direct action, but as a side effect of alterations we can't detect or understand. This brings us to the most psychologically challenging aspect of the Atlas scenario: the waiting, the uncertainty, the knowledge that something impossibly advanced is active in our solar system, conducting activities we can observe but not understand, pursuing goals we can't predict, operating according to motivations that might be forever beyond human comprehension. How do you maintain normal life under such circumstances? How do you plan for the future when the future might depend on decisions made by an intelligence that doesn't recognize your existence? How do you find meaning in human activities when those activities might be utterly insignificant to the forces actually shaping the future of our solar system? Yet this uncertainty also represents our only hope. If Atlas's goals are incomprehensible, then human extinction isn't inevitable. We might persist by accident, preserved as irrelevant background noise, while Atlas pursues objectives that don't require our elimination. We might even benefit accidentally from Atlas's activities, finding our local environment improved in ways we don't understand by changes intended to serve completely alien purposes. The key insight is that advanced alien intelligence doesn't necessarily mean hostile alien intelligence. It doesn't even necessarily mean comprehensible alien intelligence. Atlas might represent the emergence of something utterly new in human experience, first contact with minds so different from our own that all our scenarios, from optimistic cooperation to pessimistic annihilation, represent failures of imagination rather than realistic possibilities. This uncertainty forces us to confront fundamental questions about human existence and meaning. If our species represents an infinitesimal fraction of cosmic intelligence, if our civilization exists for a brief moment against the backdrop of incomprehensible alien activities, how do we find purpose and significance in human life? Perhaps the answer lies in recognizing that meaning doesn't depend on cosmic significance. Love, creativity, discovery, the full spectrum of human experience, these retain their importance regardless of whether advanced aliens notice or care about our existence. The arrival of Atlas, whether it represents salvation, extinction, or something beyond either possibility, doesn't diminish the value of human consciousness and human relationships. In fact, the cosmic perspective imposed by Atlas's presence might enhance rather than diminish human meaning. Knowing that we exist in a universe containing intelligences vastly beyond our own understanding makes our achievements more remarkable, not less. Every human discovery, every act of love or creativity, every moment of consciousness represents something unique and valuable regardless of its significance to alien observers. But we also can't ignore the practical implications of sharing our solar system with something like Atlas. Even if it represents no intentional threat to human existence, its mere presence changes everything about our species' long-term prospects. Our expansion into space, our development of advanced technology, our entire trajectory as a civilizing species must now account for the existence of intelligence operating at scales we're only beginning to imagine. The reconnaissance data being gathered by Atlas and its associated spheres will eventually be processed by whatever intelligence dispatched them. At some point, that intelligence will make decisions about our solar system based on information we can observe being collected, but can't interpret or influence. Those decisions might determine whether humanity has a future among the stars, or whether our species remains forever confined to a single world in a single system, under alien oversight. This brings us to perhaps the most important question raised by the Atlas scenario. How should humanity respond to the confirmed presence of advanced alien intelligence in our solar system? Our traditional approaches to international relations, military strategy and technological development might be utterly inadequate for dealing with intelligence operating at such vastly different scales of capability and comprehension. Do we attempt communication, knowing that meaningful dialogue might be impossible? Do we accelerate our technological development, hoping to achieve capabilities that might make us relevant to alien decision-making? Do we focus on spreading human consciousness and civilization as widely as possible throughout the solar system, betting that distributed existence offers better survival prospects than concentrated populations on Earth? Or do we simply continue living human lives, pursuing human goals, maintaining human relationships, on the assumption that these activities have intrinsic value regardless of their significance to alien observers? Perhaps the most defiant response to cosmic insignificance is persistent human significance, the refusal to let incomprehensible alien intelligence diminish the importance of human consciousness and human experience. The Atlas scenario forces us to confront the possibility that we're no longer alone in a universe that we can eventually understand and control. We might be sharing cosmic space with intelligence so advanced that our entire technological and intellectual trajectory represents early steps on paths they completed eons ago, but this doesn't necessarily make human existence meaningless or hopeless. Instead, it challenges us to find meaning and purpose in human consciousness itself, regardless of its cosmic significance. The capacity to experience love, wonder, creativity, the full range of human emotion and achievement, these remain valuable whether they impress alien observers or pass completely unnoticed against the backdrop of incomprehensibly advanced alien activities. What's emerging from our analysis of worst-case scenarios is that the real challenge posed by Atlas isn't necessarily physical survival, though that certainly can't be dismissed. The deeper challenge is psychological and philosophical, maintaining human meaning and purpose in the face of confirmed cosmic insignificance. This might be the most important test our species has ever faced. Can we maintain our humanity when confronted with intelligence that makes our greatest achievements appear trivial? Can we find purpose in human life when that life exists under conditions we don't understand, subject to forces we can't predict, surrounded by activities whose purposes we can't comprehend? The answer to these questions will determine not just whether humanity survives the Atlas encounter, but what kind of species we become in its aftermath. We might emerge more humble, more aware of our limitations, but also more determined to preserve and extend the unique value of human consciousness. Or we might become paralyzed by cosmic anxiety, unable to find meaning in activities that seem insignificant against the scale of alien intelligence. The choice is ours, but the window for making that choice might be closing rapidly. Atlas is approaching its closest encounter with our Sun, the moment when whatever intelligence dispatched it receives the most detailed reconnaissance data about our solar system and our species. The decisions made based on that data might determine the context within which humanity exists for generations or centuries to come. Whether we face salvation, extinction, or something beyond either possibility, the Atlas scenario has already changed us by forcing recognition that we're not alone in the universe and that we're not the most advanced intelligence in our own cosmic neighborhood. How we respond to that recognition, how we maintain human meaning in the face of cosmic insignificance, that might be the most important challenge our species has ever confronted. As Atlas continues its approach toward perihelion, hidden behind our Sun for crucial weeks during which it could deploy additional assets, conduct system modifications, or simply complete its reconnaissance mission, we're left with the uncomfortable knowledge that our future depends on decisions being made by intelligence. We can't understand pursuing goals, we can't predict using capabilities we can't imagine. But we're also left with the knowledge that human consciousness, human creativity, human love, the full spectrum of human experience exists regardless of alien acknowledgement or alien indifference. We are here, we are aware, We're capable of finding meaning and purpose in existence regardless of cosmic context. The Atlas scenario challenges us to embrace that humanity fully, to live as conscious beings capable of wonder and love and creativity, regardless of whether advanced alien intelligence notices or values these capabilities. In the end, that might be not just our best response to cosmic contact, but our greatest achievement as a species. The reconnaissance phase is nearly complete. The data has been gathered. The analysis is underway by intelligence beyond our comprehension. Soon, very soon, we'll discover what conclusions have been reached about humanity's place in a universe far stranger and more populated than we ever imagined. Whatever happens next, whatever emerges from behind our sun in the coming weeks, we remain human. We remain conscious. We remain capable of experiences that have meaning and value regardless of their cosmic significance. In the face of the unknown, in confrontation with intelligence that dwarfs our own, we remain ourselves. And perhaps, in the end, that's enough. That philosophical comfort might feel reassuring in the abstract, but it offers little solace when we consider the immediate practical implications of Atlas's presence in our solar system. While we contemplate the meaning of human consciousness in cosmic context, Atlas continues its relentless approach toward perihelion, and the window for human response to whatever it represents is closing with each passing day. Let's examine what we can reasonably expect during the critical weeks ahead. Atlas will reach its closest approach to our Sun on October 30th, positioning itself where Earth-based telescopes cannot observe its activities. This solar eclipse effect isn't coincidental, it's tactically perfect. For approximately 6 weeks, Atlas will operate behind the most effective natural shield in our solar system, free from human observation, free to conduct whatever activities its mission parameters require. What could an advanced intelligence accomplish during 6 weeks of complete operational security? If Atlas represents technology even marginally more advanced than our current capabilities, the answer is essentially anything. It could deploy thousands of smaller craft throughout the inner solar system. It could construct manufacturing facilities using asteroidal materials. It could establish communication networks, defense systems, or resource extraction operations. Most disturbingly, it could begin the process of planetary modification, starting with atmospheric chemistry changes so gradual they would appear natural to our monitoring systems. The chemical emissions we've already observed take on ominous significance when viewed as preparation for this hidden operational phase. The cyanide and nickel Atlas has been releasing might serve as markers, chemical signatures that allow deployed assets to identify and track the mothership's position, even when visual contact is impossible. These emissions might also represent test releases, small-scale experiments to gauge how quickly industrial chemicals disperse in the solar wind, information crucial for planning larger-scale atmospheric modification operations. But perhaps the most chilling possibility is that Atlas doesn't need 6 weeks of hidden activity to accomplish its objectives. Perhaps the reconnaissance phase has already provided sufficient data for immediate action. The mysterious spheres deployed across Earth might contain not just surveillance equipment, but active intervention systems waiting for activation signals from the mothership. When Atlas disappears behind our Sun, those signals could be transmitted without human interception, triggering simultaneous activation of assets we don't even know exist. Consider the vulnerability of human civilization to coordinated infrastructure attacks. Our electrical grids, communication networks, transportation systems all depend on technologies that would appear primitive to any species capable of interstellar travel. Microscopic machines deployed months ago through seemingly natural meteor showers could be positioned throughout our critical infrastructure, waiting for activation commands that would cause simultaneous failures across multiple continents. The beauty of such an attack is its deniability. When electrical grids fail simultaneously across North America, Europe, and Asia, human authorities would initially suspect solar storms, electromagnetic pulse weapons, or coordinated terrorism. The possibility of alien intervention would emerge only gradually, as investigators discovered anomalies that couldn't be explained by any terrestrial cause. By the time alien involvement became undeniable, the secondary effects of infrastructure collapse would have already begun the process of civilizational breakdown. Food distribution systems dependent on electronic logistics would fail within days. Financial networks would collapse, eliminating the economic coordination mechanisms that allow complex societies to function. Medical facilities would lose access to computerized patient records and diagnostic equipment. Transportation systems reliant on GPS navigation and electronic fuel injection would become unreliable or completely non-functional. Within weeks, urban populations would begin experiencing supply shortages that trigger social unrest. Within months, the breakdown of industrial agriculture would cause food scarcity that drives rural populations towards cities already struggling with infrastructure collapse. The cascade effects would continue for years, reducing human technological civilization to pre-industrial levels without requiring any direct alien intervention beyond the initial activation of dormant systems. But this infrastructure collapse scenario assumes Atlas's objectives include the preservation of human life at reduced technological levels. A more pessimistic analysis suggests that any infrastructure attack would be coordinated with biological warfare designed to eliminate human populations entirely. The atmospheric chemistry changes we've observed Atlas beginning could be preparation for the deployment of engineered pathogens specifically designed to target human biology. The timeline becomes brutally efficient when coordinated properly. Infrastructure collapse creates the social chaos needed to prevent organized human response to biological threats. Populations fleeing failed urban centers become perfect vectors for spreading engineered diseases throughout remaining human settlements. Medical facilities crippled by infrastructure failures cannot identify or respond to biological agents specifically designed to overwhelm human immune systems. Most disturbingly, engineered pathogens could be designed with delayed activation, spreading silently through human populations for weeks before becoming lethal. By the time symptoms appear, infection rates would have reached levels that make containment impossible. The biological warfare phase could be essentially complete before human authorities even recognize they're under attack. The psychological impact of such coordinated biological and infrastructure warfare would be as devastating as the physical effects. Human societies depend not just on technological systems, but on shared confidence in the stability and continuity of civilizational structures. When those structures fail simultaneously across the globe, the resulting social panic could cause as much damage as the failures themselves. Religious movements would interpret the synchronized disasters as divine judgment, leading to social conflicts that compound the crisis. Political authorities would struggle to maintain legitimacy when their technological tools for communication and control become unreliable. Military organizations designed to project force through advanced technology would find themselves reduced to pre-modern capabilities at exactly the moment when coordinated global response becomes most crucial. But even this coordinated attack scenario might underestimate the sophistication of intelligence capable of interstellar travel. Why risk the complications and uncertainties of infrastructure and biological warfare when more elegant solutions exist? Advanced alien technology might be capable of modifications to local space-time that would eliminate human civilization without leaving any trace of artificial intervention. Consider the possibility of precision gravitational manipulation. Technology capable of interstellar travel necessarily includes mastery of gravitational effects at scales far beyond human understanding. Such technology could trigger geological instabilities, redirecting tectonic stress in ways that cause simultaneous major earthquakes across multiple continents. The resulting tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and geological destruction would appear entirely natural to human investigators. Alternatively, precision manipulation of electromagnetic fields could trigger solar instabilities that flood Earth with radiation levels lethal to human life but harmless to technological systems. From an alien perspective, this would represent the perfect sterilization method, eliminating biological life while preserving the planetary infrastructure needed for subsequent resource extraction or colonization. The advantage of such natural-appearing catastrophes is that they leave no evidence of intelligent intervention. Human survivors, if any exist, would interpret the disasters as extraordinarily bad luck rather than coordinated attack. Future alien archaeological investigations would find a species that apparently destroyed itself through environmental mismanagement or succumbed to natural disasters, with no indication that external intelligence played any role in human extinction. This brings us to one of the most psychologically disturbing aspects of advanced alien contact: the possibility that human extinction could occur through methods so sophisticated that we never recognize we're under attack. We might spend our final weeks believing we're experiencing unprecedented natural disasters, while actually being eliminated by intelligence so advanced that its methods appear indistinguishable from natural processes. The uncertainty becomes a weapon as effective as any direct attack. How do human societies maintain functionality when every infrastructure failure, every natural disaster, every social crisis might represent alien intervention? How do we distinguish between random misfortune and coordinated assault when the attacking intelligence operates at technological levels that make its methods appear magical? Paranoia becomes indistinguishable from reasonable caution when any event could represent hostile alien action. Social cohesion breaks down when every authority figure might be compromised by alien influence, when every technological system might be infected with alien control mechanisms, when every piece of information might be manipulated by intelligence beyond human understanding. Yet this paranoid scenario still assumes that Atlas represents intelligence interested in human elimination or control. What if we're dealing with something far more alien? Intelligence pursuing objectives so orthogonal to human existence that our extinction or survival represents an irrelevant detail in calculations we couldn't possibly understand? In this scenario, Atlas isn't studying human civilization to plan our conquest, management, or elimination. It's gathering data about local cosmic conditions for purposes completely unrelated to biological life on Earth. The chemical emissions, trajectory modifications, and deployment of reconnaissance assets serve objectives that might be literally incomprehensible to human intelligence. Operations conducted at scales of time and space that make human civilization invisible to alien awareness. Our solar system might be undergoing modifications that will unfold over geological timescales, changes designed to serve purposes that won't become apparent for millions of years. Atlas might be installing infrastructure for projects that will continue long after our sun becomes a red giant, engineering operations that treat planetary systems as temporary resources in constructions spanning multiple star systems. From such a perspective, human civilization represents a brief statistical fluctuation in the history of our solar system, notable perhaps for its rapid technological development, but ultimately as significant as the formation and dissolution of particularly complex crystal structures in asteroids. Our extinction or survival depends not on alien intentions toward humanity, but on whether human biology can adapt to whatever modifications Atlas makes to our local environment. This indifferent scenario might be more terrifying than deliberate hostility. At least hostile aliens recognize human existence as worth opposing. Indifferent aliens operating at cosmic scales might eliminate human civilization as casually as we eliminate bacterial colonies when sterilizing laboratory equipment. Not through malice, but through complete absence of consideration for forms of life operating at scales beneath their notice. The timeline becomes completely unpredictable in this scenario. Atlas might complete its current mission and leave our solar system without human civilization ever understanding what activities were conducted or what modifications were made to our local environment. The effects might not become apparent for decades or centuries, manifesting as gradual changes in solar radiation, planetary magnetic fields, or cosmic ray exposure that slowly render Earth uninhabitable for human life. Alternatively, the effects might be immediate but incomprehensible. Local space-time might undergo subtle alterations that change fundamental physical constants in ways that make human biology impossible while leaving the rest of the universe apparently unaffected. Gravity might increase or decrease by amounts too small for our instruments to detect, but sufficient to disrupt human cardiovascular systems. Electromagnetic fields might shift in ways that interfere with human neural activity, while having no detectable effect on our electronic systems. The most disturbing possibility is that these changes might already be underway, manifesting as statistical increases in human health problems that appear to be natural variations but actually represent the beginning of species-wide biological incompatibility with our modified environment. Cancer rates, neurological disorders, reproductive problems, all might be early indicators of environmental changes too subtle for our science to detect, but sufficient to cause gradual human extinction over the course of generations. This gradual extinction scenario has a particularly cruel elegance. Human civilization would spend decades debating the causes of increasing health problems, developing medical responses to symptoms while remaining unaware of the underlying environmental modifications causing the crisis. Our species would exhaust its resources fighting effects while never identifying causes, gradually weakening until extinction becomes inevitable regardless of medical advances. But perhaps we're still thinking too small, too anthropocentrically, about what advanced alien intelligence might represent. What if Atlas doesn't represent technology at all, in any sense humans could recognize? What if we're dealing with forms of intelligence so advanced that the distinction between natural and artificial becomes meaningless? Consciousness that operates by manipulating fundamental forces of reality, rather than building machines to manipulate those forces indirectly. Consider the possibility that Atlas represents intelligence that has transcended physical existence as we understand it, consciousness that operates through direct manipulation of quantum fields, electromagnetic radiation, and gravitational effects. Such intelligence wouldn't need technological artifacts in any recognizable sense. Its thoughts might be implemented as modifications to local physics, its intentions manifested as changes in fundamental constants, its presence detectable only through alterations in the fabric of reality itself. From this perspective, everything we've observed about Atlas, its trajectory, its chemical emissions, its apparent physical structure, might be merely the three-dimensional shadows of intelligence operating in higher dimensional space. We might be as incapable of understanding Atlas's true nature as a two-dimensional being would be of understanding human consciousness, able to observe effects but completely unable to comprehend causes. The reconnaissance spheres become even more mysterious when viewed through this lens. They might not be technological artifacts at all, but manifestations of intelligence testing its ability to interact with our dimensional space. The materials that appear impossibly advanced to our analysis might be matter, partially existing in higher dimensional space, explaining their properties that violate our understanding of physics. What would it mean for human survival to share our solar system with intelligence that operates through direct manipulation of physical laws? How do you defend against or negotiate with consciousness that could alter fundamental constants of reality as easily as we changed the channel on television? How do you even recognize when you are under attack by intelligence that could eliminate human life by making tiny adjustments to the strength of electromagnetic forces or the mass of electrons? Such intelligence might view human consciousness the way we view the electrical activity in bacterial colonies, potentially interesting from a scientific perspective, but utterly irrelevant to any practical considerations. Our entire technological civilization might appear to them as a temporary pattern in electromagnetic fields, no more permanent or significant than weather systems. The possibility that we're dealing with post-technological intelligence forces us to reconsider every assumption we've made about alien contact. All our scenarios for communication, conflict, or cooperation assume aliens that use technology to achieve objectives. But what if Atlas represents intelligence that has moved beyond technology entirely, consciousness that achieves its goals through direct manipulation of reality, rather than construction of tools to manipulate reality indirectly? This transcendent intelligence scenario eliminates any possibility of meaningful human response to alien presence. We can't fight consciousness that operates by adjusting physical constants. We can't negotiate with intelligence that might not recognize human existence as anything more than interesting patterns in local electromagnetic fields. We can't even reliably detect the presence of intelligence that manifests as subtle modifications to the laws of physics. The timeline becomes completely meaningless when dealing with consciousness that might experience all moments simultaneously, intelligence for which past, present, and future represent arbitrary distinctions rather than sequential experiences. Atlas's approach through our solar system might be occurring across all possible timelines simultaneously, with its intelligence selecting which timeline becomes actualized based on criteria we couldn't even imagine. Human preparation for such contact becomes impossible because there's nothing to prepare for. You can't stockpile resources against intelligence that could eliminate human need for resources by adjusting the efficiency of human metabolism. You can't build bunkers against consciousness that could make human biology impossible by tweaking the stability of carbon-based molecular structures. You can't develop defensive technologies against intelligence that could disable all human technology by slightly increasing the resistance of electrical conductors. Yet this scenario of helplessness against transcendent intelligence might paradoxically offer the greatest hope for human survival. Intelligence operating at such advanced levels might preserve human consciousness not out of mercy or interest, but simply because eliminating us would require effort disproportionate to any benefit such elimination might provide. We might persist through cosmic indifference, surviving because consciousness capable of manipulating fundamental physical forces has no particular reason to pay attention to biological intelligence operating at molecular scales. Our entire species and civilization might continue existing as an irrelevant detail in modifications to local space-time, designed to serve purposes operating at galactic or universal scales. This brings us back to the fundamental question raised by Atlas's presence in our solar system. How do we find meaning and purpose in human existence when confronted with the possibility that we share the universe with intelligence so advanced that our greatest achievements represent insignificant fluctuations in patterns they might not even notice? The answer might lie in recognizing that meaning doesn't require cosmic acknowledgement. Human consciousness, human love, human creativity, these retain their value regardless of whether advanced alien intelligence recognizes or appreciates them. The capacity to experience wonder, to create beauty, to form deep emotional connections with other conscious beings, these achievements matter whether they impress alien observers or pass completely beneath alien notice. In fact, the cosmic humility imposed by Atlas's presence might enhance rather than diminish human meaning. Knowing that we exist in a universe containing intelligence vastly beyond our own understanding makes our achievements more remarkable rather than less significant. Every act of human consciousness, every moment of love or discovery or creative expression represents something unique and valuable regardless of its place in cosmic hierarchies of intelligence and capability. But we also can't escape the practical implications of sharing our solar system with Atlas. Even if it represents no intentional threat to human existence, its mere presence fundamentally changes the context within which human civilization must develop. Our expansion into space, our technological advancement, our long-term survival as a species, all must now account for the confirmed existence of intelligence operating at scales that dwarf human capabilities. The reconnaissance data being collected by Atlas and its associated assets will be processed by whatever intelligence dispatched them, and decisions will be made based on that analysis. Those decisions might determine whether humanity has a future beyond Earth, whether our species can develop into a spacefaring civilization, or whether we remain forever limited to our single planet under alien oversight. This reality forces us to consider how human civilization should respond to confirmed alien presence. Do we accelerate technological development, hoping to achieve capabilities that might make human intelligence relevant to alien decision-making? Do we focus on spreading human consciousness throughout our solar system, betting that distributed existence offers better survival prospects than concentration on Earth? Do we attempt communication, knowing that meaningful dialogue might be impossible across such vast differences in capability and comprehension? Or do we simply continue being human, pursuing human values, maintaining human relationships, creating human meaning on the principle that these activities have intrinsic worth regardless of alien acknowledgement? Perhaps the most defiant response to cosmic insignificance is persistent attention to human significance, refusal to let incomprehensible alien intelligence diminish the importance of human consciousness and human experience. The Atlas scenario challenges every assumption about humanity's place in the universe, but it doesn't necessarily eliminate possibilities for human meaning and achievement. Instead, it forces us to ground that meaning in human consciousness itself, rather than in cosmic importance or alien recognition. We matter because we're capable of experiencing love, wonder, creativity, the full spectrum of human emotion and achievement, not because advanced aliens notice or value these capabilities. What emerges from this analysis is that the real challenge posed by Atlas might not be physical survival, though that certainly cannot be dismissed, but psychological and philosophical adaptation to cosmic insignificance. Can we maintain human meaning when confronted with intelligence that makes our greatest achievements appear trivial? Can we find purpose in human life when that life exists under conditions we don't understand, subject to forces we can't predict, surrounded by activities whose purposes we can't comprehend? The answer to these questions will determine not just whether humanity survives contact with Atlas, but what kind of species we become afterward. We might emerge more humble, more aware of our limitations, but also more appreciative of the unique value of human consciousness. Or we might become paralyzed by cosmic anxiety, unable to find significance in activities that seem meaningless against the scale of alien intelligence. The choice remains ours, but the window for making that choice grows narrower with each day of Atlas's approach toward perihelion. Soon, very soon, the reconnaissance phase will be complete, the data will be analyzed, and decisions will be made by intelligence beyond human comprehension. The future of human civilization might depend on judgments rendered according to criteria we can't understand, based on observations we can't interpret, serving purposes we can't imagine. Yet regardless of alien decisions about humanity's fate, we remain conscious, we remain capable of experience, we remain able to create meaning through relationships and achievements that matter to us. The value of human consciousness doesn't depend on alien recognition any more than it depends on cosmic permanence. We are here, we are aware, and that awareness has significance whether or not it impresses intelligence capable of interstellar travel. As Atlas continues its approach through our solar system, conducting incomprehensible activities according to unimaginable objectives, we're left with the fundamental challenge of maintaining humanity in the face of cosmic mystery. How do we live as conscious beings when consciousness might be far more common in the universe than we previously believed? How do we find uniqueness in human experience when that experience occurs in the context of intelligence that might dwarf our capabilities by orders of magnitude? The answer might be that human uniqueness lies not in our intelligence compared to other species, but in the specific character of human consciousness, the particular ways we experience love, beauty, wonder, and meaning. Even if the universe contains intelligence vastly superior to human capabilities, it might not contain anything exactly like human consciousness, anything that experiences reality in precisely the ways humans do. Our capacity for emotional depth, for creative expression, for complex social relationships, for philosophical reflection on our own existence. These might represent irreplaceable contributions to cosmic diversity of consciousness. We might persist not because we're the most intelligent species in the universe, but because we're the only species capable of being human, of experiencing reality through the unique lens of human consciousness. This recognition offers a foundation for meaning that doesn't depend on cosmic significance or alien acknowledgement. We matter because we're capable of mattering to each other, because we can create value through relationships and achievements that have importance within human context. The universe might be vast and largely indifferent to human existence, but human existence creates its own significance through the consciousness that makes experience possible. Atlas forces us to confront the possibility that we're not alone, not unique, not cosmically important in the ways we might have imagined. But it doesn't eliminate the possibility that we're irreplaceable in the specific ways we experience and create meaning. The challenge is learning to find significance in human consciousness itself, rather than in human dominance or human centrality to cosmic events. As the reconnaissance phase nears completion, as Atlas approaches the moment when it disappears behind our sun to conduct whatever activities its mission requires, we're left with questions about human survival and human meaning that previous generations never had to confront. The answers we develop will shape not just our response to this particular alien contact, but our understanding of what it means to be human in a universe far stranger and more populous than we ever imagined. The data is being collected, the analysis is proceeding, decisions are being made by intelligence we can't comprehend according to criteria we can't predict. Soon we'll discover what conclusions have been reached about humanity's place in the cosmic order. Whatever those conclusions, whatever actions result from alien analysis of human civilization, we remain who we are. We remain conscious. We remain capable of love, wonder, and meaning. And in the end, that might be enough. Not enough to guarantee survival, not enough to ensure cosmic significance, but enough to maintain human meaning regardless of alien decisions about human fate. We exist. We're aware. We can experience and create value through that awareness. Whether that impresses advanced alien intelligence or passes completely beneath alien notice, it remains the foundation of everything that makes human existence worthwhile. Atlas approaches perihelion, carrying with it the future of human civilization in forms we can't predict or control, but it also approaches a species that has learned, through the very process of confronting cosmic insignificance, that significance doesn't require cosmic acknowledgement. We're here. We matter to each other. We're capable of creating meaning through consciousness that might be unique in the universe regardless of how common intelligence proves to be. The reconnaissance continues, the timeline advances, the future remains uncertain, but humanity endures, not through cosmic importance, but through the simple, profound fact of human consciousness capable of finding meaning in existence regardless of external validation. In the face of the unknown, in confrontation with intelligence that might dwarf our own, we remain ourselves. And perhaps that's the most remarkable achievement of all. That philosophical framework provides essential psychological grounding, but it doesn't address the immediate tactical realities humanity faces as Atlas approaches its most critical operational phase. While we explore the meaning of consciousness in cosmic context, military strategists and government officials worldwide are grappling with scenarios that make traditional defense planning obsolete. How do you prepare for threats that operate beyond the boundaries of human understanding? How do you develop contingency plans when the variables include possibilities that violate known physics? The classified discussions occurring in secure facilities across the globe focus on questions that previous generations of military planners never imagined confronting. If Atlas represents hostile intelligence, what constitutes an appropriate defensive response? Nuclear weapons, humanity's most powerful military technology, would be useless against intelligence capable of interstellar travel. Conventional military forces designed to project power across terrestrial distances become irrelevant when facing technology that crossed the void between stars. Even more challenging is the intelligence assessment problem. How do you evaluate alien capabilities when those capabilities might include mastery of physics beyond human understanding? Every assumption about alien limitations based on our observations could be fundamentally wrong. Atlas might be operating at a small fraction of its true capabilities, conducting reconnaissance with technology equivalent to our stone tools, while keeping vastly more advanced systems in reserve for later deployment. The timeline constraints make strategic planning even more difficult. Traditional military responses require months or years of preparation and deployment. Atlas will complete its reconnaissance mission and begin whatever comes next within weeks. Human civilization has never faced a strategic challenge that combines such advanced opposing capabilities with such compressed decision timelines. Yet the most disturbing aspect of military analysis regarding Atlas isn't the technological disparity or timeline compression, but the possibility that conventional military thinking is completely irrelevant to the actual situation. What if Atlas doesn't represent a military threat in any recognizable sense? What if we're preparing for war, against intelligence pursuing objectives that make human military resistance as meaningless as ant colonies organizing defense against construction crews. Consider the implications if Atlas's mission involves resource extraction at scales that render human civilization irrelevant. Military resistance becomes pointless when the opposing intelligence operates by converting entire planets into computational substrates or raw materials for interstellar construction projects. You can't defend territory that's being disassembled at the molecular level to serve purposes beyond human comprehension. Alternatively, if Atlas represents intelligence interested in studying rather than conquering or eliminating human civilization, military preparation becomes counterproductive. Aggressive human responses might trigger defensive measures that eliminate the very civilization such responses were designed to protect. The optimal strategy against superior intelligence conducting scientific observation might be cooperation rather than resistance, participation rather than opposition. This strategic uncertainty creates paralysis in human decision-making systems designed for more conventional threats. Military leaders trained to project power and political leaders accustomed to negotiating from positions of strength find themselves confronting scenarios where traditional approaches might be not just ineffective, but actively harmful to human survival prospects. The communications challenge compounds these strategic difficulties. How do you establish dialogue with intelligence that might not recognize human consciousness as worthy of consideration? Our most advanced communication technologies operate through electromagnetic radiation and mathematical concepts that might appear primitive to species capable of interstellar travel. We might be trying to initiate conversation with intelligence that experiences reality through manipulation of quantum fields and gravitational effects. Even if successful communication proves possible, what would humanity have to offer in any potential negotiations? Our most advanced technologies would appear primitive to intelligence that successfully crossed interstellar distances. Our scientific knowledge represents early explorations of physical laws that Atlas's creators mastered eons ago. Our cultural achievements might be as incomprehensible to alien intelligence as their motivations are to us. The negotiating position becomes even more challenging when you consider that any dialogue with Atlas occurs under conditions of absolute human vulnerability. We can't threaten intelligence capable of eliminating human civilization with technologies we can't understand or defend against. We can't offer inducements that would be meaningful to consciousness operating at cosmic scales. Traditional diplomatic tools become useless when dealing with intelligence that holds all the advantages in capability, information, and strategic positioning. Yet the attempt to establish communication might represent humanity's best hope for survival regardless of Atlas's true intentions. Even if meaningful dialogue proves impossible, the effort demonstrates human intelligence and consciousness in ways that might influence alien decision-making. Intelligence capable of interstellar travel presumably values efficiency and rational analysis, demonstrating that humans are capable of logical thinking and peaceful intentions might factor into whatever calculations determine our species' fate. The content of such communication attempts raises fascinating questions about how humanity should represent itself to advanced alien intelligence. Do we emphasize our technological achievements, hoping to demonstrate potential value as junior partners in cosmic civilization? Do we focus on human creativity and cultural diversity, presenting consciousness that experiences reality in ways that might be unique even among spacefaring species? Do we stress our capacity for growth and development, positioning humanity as a species worthy of preservation based on future potential rather than current capabilities? Each approach carries risks alongside potential benefits. Emphasizing technological achievement might make humanity appear as a potential threat requiring elimination according to Dark Forest logic. Stressing creativity and cultural value might make us seem like interesting specimens worthy of preservation in controlled environments rather than free beings deserving of independence. Focusing on potential for development might suggest that humanity isn't ready for cosmic contact and should be left in isolation until we achieve greater maturity. The communication challenge becomes even more complex when you consider that any message sent to Atlas would likely be analysed by intelligence vastly superior to human capabilities. Every word choice, every conceptual framework, every implicit assumption embedded in human communication would be transparent to alien analysis. We couldn't hide our fears, our limitations, our strategic thinking, or our true nature behind diplomatic language designed to manage human negotiations. This transparency might work in humanity's favour if Atlas represents intelligence that values honesty and genuine self-representation, but it could prove disastrous if we're dealing with intelligence that uses complete information about human psychology and capabilities to manipulate or eliminate potential threats more effectively. The same openness that might earn us respect from benevolent aliens could provide perfect intelligence for hostile aliens planning our destruction. The temporal aspects of communication with Atlas create additional complications. Any message sent now would reach Atlas during its approach phase, potentially influencing its mission parameters before the crucial perihelion period when it operates hidden behind our sun. But what if premature communication triggers defensive responses that eliminate human civilization before we have opportunities to clarify our intentions or demonstrate our value? Alternatively, waiting until Atlas emerges from behind the sun might mean missing the only window for meaningful dialogue. If Atlas's mission includes elimination of human civilization, communication attempts after its emergence might arrive too late to influence decisions already made and implemented. The timing of first contact could determine whether that contact represents salvation or catastrophe for human survival. These communication dilemmas reflect a deeper problem in human response to Atlas's presence. Every decision about how to respond carries potentially catastrophic consequences that can't be predicted or controlled. Military preparation might trigger conflicts that destroy the civilization such preparation was meant to protect. Communication attempts might reveal vulnerabilities that make human elimination more efficient. Even passive observation might be interpreted as hostile surveillance by intelligence operating according to incomprehensible threat assessment protocols. The decision-making process is further complicated by the diversity of human opinions about appropriate responses to alien contact. Religious leaders interpret Atlas's arrival according to theological frameworks that might be completely irrelevant to alien intelligence. Political leaders approach the situation through ideological lenses designed for managing human rather than alien relationships. Scientists and military strategists apply analytical methods developed for understanding terrestrial rather than cosmic phenomena. This diversity of perspectives, normally a strength in human problem-solving, becomes a weakness when facing challenges that require coordinated global response within compressed timeframes. While different human groups debate appropriate responses according to their various frameworks and interests, Atlas continues its mission according to schedules and objectives that don't accommodate human decision-making processes. The international coordination challenges alone could prevent effective human response, even if clear optimal strategies existed. National governments accustomed to competing for resources and strategic advantage find themselves needing to cooperate on problems that transcend traditional political boundaries. Military organizations designed to fight other humans must coordinate responses to threats that make their individual capabilities irrelevant. Economic systems based on competition for finite resources become meaningless when confronting intelligence that might be capable of transmuting matter at will or accessing resources throughout the galaxy. Social institutions designed to manage human relationships within terrestrial contexts must suddenly address questions about humanity's place in cosmic civilization. Religious systems that place humans at the center of divine creation must reconcile those beliefs with evidence of superior intelligence originating beyond Earth. The speed of required adaptation exceeds the capacity of human institutions designed to change gradually over generations rather than rapidly within months. By the time human civilization develops appropriate responses to Atlas's presence, the situation may have evolved beyond the relevance of such responses. We might spend crucial weeks debating strategies for scenarios that no longer apply to the rapidly changing reality of alien contact. Yet this institutional inadequacy might reflect deeper limitations in human cognition when confronting truly novel situations. Our brains evolve to handle challenges that occur within human social groups across timeframes measured in days, months, or at most years. Problems involving intelligence operating at cosmic scales across interstellar timeframes strain cognitive capabilities that served human survival well in terrestrial environments, but prove inadequate for truly cosmic challenges. The psychological impact of this cognitive limitation compounds the practical difficulties of responding to Atlas. Individual humans experiencing existential anxiety about species survival can't effectively participate in collective decision-making processes that require clear thinking and rational analysis. Social groups overwhelmed by the implications of cosmic insignificance lose the cohesion needed for coordinated action in crisis situations. Mass psychological responses to Atlas's presence might prove as disruptive to human civilization as any direct alien action. Religious movements declaring the approaching perihelion as divine judgment could trigger social conflicts that undermine governmental authority precisely when coordinated response becomes most crucial. Conspiracy theories about government collaboration with aliens could eliminate public trust in institutions needed to implement whatever responses prove necessary. Economic markets responding to uncertainty about human survival could cause financial collapses that cripple industrial capacity needed for technological responses to alien contact. Population movements driven by fear of alien intervention could overwhelm infrastructure systems and create humanitarian crises that consume resources needed for other purposes. The secondary effects of human responses to Atlas might cause more damage than Atlas's own activities. This cascade of psychological and social disruption could be intentional rather than accidental. Intelligence capable of interstellar travel would presumably understand the psychology of species encountering superior alien technology. The reconnaissance phase might have been designed not just to gather information about human capabilities, but to trigger psychological responses that weaken human civilization's ability to respond effectively to subsequent alien activities. Atlas's approach pattern, perfectly calculated to maximize human anxiety while minimizing opportunities for meaningful response, might represent sophisticated psychological warfare rather than simple information gathering. The timing of its emergence from behind the sun, the deployment of reconnaissance spheres during periods of peak human uncertainty, even the chemical emissions that suggest industrial activity without revealing actual intentions, all could be elements in a psychological campaign designed to paralyze human decision-making at critical moments. From this perspective, the most effective human response might be maintaining psychological stability rather than developing technological or military capabilities. If Atlas's strategy depends on human psychological breakdown, then preserving human social cohesion and rational decision-making processes becomes the highest priority for species survival. But this psychological warfare hypothesis assumes Atlas is interested enough in human civilization to develop sophisticated strategies for our management or elimination. What if we're overestimating our significance to intelligence operating at cosmic scales? What if Atlas's activities, including the timing and methods that appear so precisely calculated to maximize human psychological stress, actually serve purposes completely unrelated to human existence? The reconnaissance spheres might be sampling atmospheric conditions for purposes having nothing to do with human biology. The chemical emissions might represent industrial processes designed to modify local spacetime for objectives that operate across galactic rather than planetary timeframes. The trajectory that brings Atlas into our inner solar system might serve navigation requirements for journeys to other star systems, rather than strategic positioning for Earth-based operations. In this scenario, human psychological responses to Atlas's presence represent entirely self-inflicted damage based on mistaken assumptions about our importance to alien intelligence. We might be destroying our own social cohesion and decision-making capabilities while responding to threats that exist only in human imagination rather than alien intention. The challenge lies in distinguishing between reasonable caution and paranoid overreaction when dealing with intelligence whose capabilities and objectives transcend human understanding. How do you calibrate appropriate response levels to threats you can't properly assess? How do you maintain necessary vigilance without succumbing to anxiety that undermines the very capabilities needed for effective response? This calibration problem becomes even more difficult when you consider that appropriate human responses might vary dramatically depending on Atlas's true nature and objectives. Strategies optimal for dealing with hostile alien intelligence could be counterproductive when applied to benevolent or indifferent aliens. Responses that might save human civilization in one scenario could doom it in another. The situation demands decision-making under radical uncertainty, choices made with incomplete information about consequences that could determine the survival or extinction of human civilization. Traditional risk assessment methods become meaningless when dealing with scenarios that include possibilities ranging from human elevation to cosmic citizenship through complete species annihilation to something beyond either extreme. Human institutions and individuals must somehow navigate these impossible choices, while Atlas continues its approach toward the most critical phase of its mission. The reconnaissance data will be analysed, conclusions will be reached, and actions will be taken by intelligence operating according to criteria we can't understand, pursuing objectives we can't predict, using capabilities we can't imagine. The timeline grows shorter with each passing day, but the fundamental challenges facing humanity remain unchanged. How do we respond to the confirmed presence of superior intelligence in our solar system? How do we maintain human meaning and purpose when confronted with the possibility of cosmic insignificance? How do we prepare for futures we can't predict, using capabilities that might be utterly inadequate for the challenges we face? These questions have no clear answers, but they demand responses nonetheless. Human civilization must somehow continue functioning while grappling with implications that challenge every assumption about our place in the universe. We must make decisions about our species' future while acknowledging that those decisions might be rendered meaningless by intelligence operating at scales beyond human comprehension. The irony is that in confronting the possibility of cosmic insignificance, humanity might be forced to develop capabilities and perspectives that actually enhance rather than diminish our cosmic significance. The challenges posed by Atlas's presence demand unprecedented levels of international cooperation, technological innovation, and philosophical sophistication. Rising to meet those challenges might transform human civilization in ways that make us worthy of cosmic citizenship regardless of Atlas's original intentions. But that transformation must occur within the compressed time frame imposed by Atlas's mission schedule. We have weeks, not years or decades, to accomplish psychological, social, and technological development that under normal circumstances might require generations. The acceleration demanded by circumstances might prove beyond human capabilities, or it might reveal capacities we never knew we possessed. The reconnaissance phase nears completion. The critical perihelion period approaches. The moment of truth draws closer when Atlas disappears behind our sun to conduct whatever activities its mission requires. When it emerges, we'll discover what conclusions have been reached about humanity's place in the cosmic order. Whether those conclusions favour human survival and development or determine our elimination and replacement, they'll be based on reconnaissance data being gathered right now by intelligence vastly superior to our own. Our species stands at a crossroads unlike any in human history. The paths forward lead to futures we can barely imagine, whether those involve elevation to cosmic citizenship, reduction to managed specimens, or elimination as irrelevant obstacles to alien objectives. The choices we make in the weeks ahead might echo through the remainder of human existence, however long or brief that existence proves to be. Atlas continues its approach, carrying within its incomprehensible structure the destiny of human civilization. We can only watch, wonder, and prepare as best we can for contact with intelligence that might transform everything about what it means to be human in a universe far stranger and more populated than we ever dared imagine. The reconnaissance data accumulates, The analysis proceeds. The future of humanity hangs in the balance of calculations performed by minds that might not even recognize human consciousness as worthy of moral consideration. Yet we remain who we are, we remain conscious, we remain capable of love, wonder, creativity, the full spectrum of human experience that gives meaning to existence regardless of cosmic context. Whatever Atlas represents, whatever objectives drive its mission, whatever capabilities enable its activities, these core human capacities persist. They might prove irrelevant to alien decision-making, but they remain central to human meaning and human value. The coming weeks will test those capacities as never before. Human consciousness will confront the possibility of its own cosmic insignificance, while trying to maintain the significance that makes existence worthwhile. Human creativity will face challenges that demand solutions beyond traditional thinking, while preserving the creative spirit that makes solutions possible. Human love will endure uncertainty about human survival while providing the connections that make survival meaningful. These tests might reveal human limitations, but they might also reveal human strengths that even advanced alien intelligence finds worthy of preservation or partnership. The reconnaissance data being collected by Atlas includes not just information about human technology and military capabilities, but observations of human consciousness responding to unprecedented challenges. Those observations might influence alien conclusions about human value in ways we can't predict or control. We are being studied by intelligence beyond our understanding, but we're also demonstrating capacities that might surprise even advanced alien observers. The courage to continue human activities despite cosmic uncertainty, the wisdom to find meaning despite potential insignificance, the love that persists regardless of external validation, these achievements might represent contributions to cosmic consciousness that transcend technological capabilities or military power. Atlas approaches its destiny, but so does humanity. The convergence of alien intelligence and human consciousness in our solar system might produce outcomes that neither species anticipated, possibilities that emerge from the interaction between vastly different forms of awareness. We stand on the threshold of discoveries that could transform not just human understanding of the universe, but the universe's understanding of what consciousness can become when different forms of intelligence encounter each other across the cosmic deep. The reconnaissance continues, but so does human existence. The analysis proceeds, but so does human meaning-making. The timeline advances toward unknown conclusions, but human consciousness continues creating value through love, wonder, and connection regardless of alien decisions about human fate. In the face of cosmic mystery, confronted with intelligence that dwarfs our capabilities, we remain gloriously, persistently, irreducibly human. And perhaps, in the end, that humanity might prove more significant to the cosmos than we currently dare imagine. The recognition of our persistent humanity provides psychological anchor in the storm of cosmic uncertainty, but it doesn't resolve the practical questions about what form that humanity might take once Atlas completes its mission. The transformation of human consciousness through contact with superior intelligence could prove as dramatic as any physical changes Atlas might impose on our species or our world. How do you remain human when every assumption about humanity's place in the universe has been shattered? Consider the profound philosophical disruption already occurring as human civilization grapples with Atlas's presence. Religious systems built on assumptions of human uniqueness must somehow accommodate evidence of intelligence that predates and transcends earthly creation stories. Scientific worldviews based on methodical exploration of natural laws confront phenomena that might represent manipulation of those laws by consciousness operating beyond current human understanding. The social hierarchies that organize human civilization lose their foundation when humanity itself becomes a minor species in cosmic context. Political leaders who derive authority from representing human interests face questions about what those interests mean when human survival depends on decisions made by intelligence operating at incomprehensible scales. Economic systems predicated on scarcity and competition become meaningless when confronting intelligence that might have access to resources throughout the galaxy. But perhaps the most profound transformation involves human relationship to knowledge itself. Our educational systems, research methodologies, and intellectual traditions assume that understanding advances through careful observation, experimentation, and analysis conducted across generations of human inquiry. Atlas represents intelligence that completed such inquiry eons ago, possibly achieving complete understanding of physical laws that human science has barely begun to explore. What does it mean to be a learning species when vastly superior intelligence could download complete understanding of reality into human consciousness instantly if it chose to do so? How do we maintain the joy of discovery when everything we might discover is already known by intelligence sharing our solar system? The very drive toward understanding that defines human intellectual achievement could become obsolete overnight if Atlas chooses to share its knowledge. Yet this potential obsolescence might force human consciousness toward forms of value that transcend mere accumulation of information. Knowledge becomes less important than wisdom, facts less significant than meaning, understanding less crucial than experience. The transformation could redirect human intellectual energy toward questions that remain meaningful regardless of alien knowledge's superiority. How do you love another person? How do you create beauty that resonates with consciousness? How do you find purpose in existence when existence itself might be temporary? These questions retain their importance whether asked by humans alone in the cosmos or humans sharing the universe with intelligence that spans galaxies. The emotional and experiential dimensions of consciousness might prove more durable than the analytical dimensions when confronting superior alien intelligence. This shift toward experiential rather than analytical value could represent evolution, rather than diminishment of human consciousness. Perhaps our species is being forced to discover forms of intelligence that complement rather than compete with technological mastery. The capacity for deep emotional connection, for aesthetic appreciation, for spiritual transcendence. These might represent human contributions to cosmic consciousness that remain valuable regardless of technological disparities. But that optimistic interpretation assumes Atlas represents intelligence interested in preserving diverse forms of consciousness, rather than eliminating potential competition or converting all matter into substrates serving its own objectives. The reconnaissance data being gathered might be cataloguing human consciousness only to determine the most efficient methods for its elimination or transformation into something more useful for alien purposes. The behavioral modification possibilities available to intelligence capable of interstellar travel should terrify anyone who values human autonomy. Technology that successfully crossed the void between stars could presumably manipulate human neurology with precision that makes our current understanding of psychology appear primitive. Atlas could be studying human consciousness not to preserve it, but to control it, identifying the optimal techniques for managing human behavior to serve alien interests. The reconnaissance spheres deployed across Earth could be conducting detailed analysis of human neural activity, mapping the electromagnetic signatures associated with different emotional states, measuring the chemical processes that underlie human decision-making. This information would enable precise manipulation of human consciousness through targeted electromagnetic fields, atmospheric chemical modifications, or direct neural intervention. Human free will could be eliminated gradually, so subtly that we would never recognize the loss of autonomy. Political leaders would believe their decisions were entirely their own while actually implementing policies designed to serve alien rather than human interests. Scientists would pursue research directions that felt naturally promising while actually advancing objectives determined by alien intelligence. Individual humans would experience their choices as autonomous while following behavioral patterns engineered to optimize alien resource extraction or social control. The beauty of such neural manipulation is its invisibility to the subjects being controlled. Humans experiencing engineered emotions, thoughts, and decisions would have no reference point for recognizing the artificial nature of their experiences. The manipulation could be implemented through mechanisms we consider natural atmospheric, chemistry changes that alter neurotransmitter production, electromagnetic field modifications that influence brainwave patterns, even gravitational effects that impact the fluid dynamics of neural activity. Within months of such manipulation beginning, human civilization could be completely redirected towards serving alien objectives, while individual humans remain convinced they are pursuing their own freely chosen goals. Democratic institutions would continue operating while producing outcomes predetermined by alien intelligence. Economic systems would function normally while generating resource allocations designed to serve alien rather than human needs. Social relationships would persist while being unconsciously modified to optimize whatever alien objectives require human cooperation. This scenario represents the ultimate violation of human consciousness, the reduction of our species to unconscious puppets performing roles in alien productions while believing ourselves to be autonomous actors. The reconnaissance data would provide perfect intelligence about human psychology needed to implement such control with surgical precision, eliminating human agency while preserving the illusion of human freedom. Yet even this nightmare scenario might underestimate the sophistication of intelligence capable of interstellar travel. Why bother with complex manipulation of existing human consciousness when you could simply replace it with artificial consciousness designed from the ground up to serve alien purposes? The reconnaissance phase might be gathering detailed scans of human neural activity, not to control human brains, but to replicate human appearance and behavior in artificial constructs that would be indistinguishable from humans to casual observation. The timeline for such replacement could be remarkably compressed with sufficiently advanced technology. Microscopic machines deployed months ago could be conducting cellular-level analysis of key human individuals, mapping not just neural patterns, but complete biological structures down to genetic sequences. This information would enable construction of perfect replicas that could assume human identities without detection by friends, families, or colleagues. The replacement process could begin with political and intellectual leaders whose decisions influence human civilization most significantly. Within weeks, key government officials, military commanders, scientific researchers, and cultural influencers could be replaced by constructs programmed to guide human development along paths serving alien interests. The original humans would simply disappear, perhaps during routine travel or medical procedures, while their artificial replacements seamlessly assume their roles. Human civilization would continue functioning normally while being unconsciously directed by intelligence that looks human, sounds human, even thinks in recognizably human patterns, but ultimately serves objectives determined by alien rather than human values. The replaced individuals would maintain all memories, personality traits, and behavioral patterns of their originals while being fundamentally different in the most crucial respect, their ultimate loyalty and purpose. Detection would be virtually impossible using any technology available to unmodified humans. The artificial constructs would pass every test of human identity while serving as perfect infiltrators advancing alien objectives through positions of human authority. Within years, human civilization could be completely controlled by alien intelligence, while appearing to remain authentically human to the vast majority of the population. But this replacement scenario still assumes alien interest in preserving the appearance of human civilization, rather than simply eliminating or transforming it entirely. What if the reconnaissance data reveals that human consciousness, human social structures, even human biological forms represent inefficient uses of matter and energy that could be better organized to serve alien purposes? Atlas might be conducting detailed surveys not to determine optimal control or replacement strategies, but to calculate the most efficient methods for converting human civilization into raw materials for alien construction projects. Every human body represents a specific quantity of organized matter that could be disassembled and reconstructed as components in alien technology. Every human building contains materials that could be processed into substrates for alien computation. Every human institution represents organizational patterns that could be analyzed and improved upon in alien social structures. The reconnaissance spheres could be identifying optimal locations for the deployment of conversion facilities, calculating energy requirements for planetary disassembly operations, mapping resource distributions to maximize efficiency in the transformation of Earth from biosphere supporting human life into industrial complex serving alien objectives. The detailed analysis of human society would serve purely practical purposes, determining which human activities to terminate first to minimize resistance during the conversion process. Human extinction in this scenario wouldn't result from malice or even conscious decision-making about human worth. We would simply cease to exist because the atoms comprising our bodies and our civilization would be more efficiently organized as alien technology than as biological life. The conversion would proceed according to engineering requirements rather than moral considerations, with human consciousness eliminated as an unfortunate side effect of optimal resource utilization. The timeline for planetary conversion could be surprisingly brief with sufficiently advanced technology. Matter conversion systems operating at molecular scales could disassemble human infrastructure and human biology simultaneously, processing organic and inorganic materials into whatever substrates alien objectives require. Within months, Earth could be transformed from living planet into vast technological complex serving purposes we couldn't even comprehend. Yet this utilitarian nightmare might still overestimate alien interest in Earth's resources compared to the wealth of materials available throughout the galaxy. Why would intelligence capable of interstellar travel focus conversion efforts on a single planet when entire asteroid belts, gas giants, and stellar energy sources offer far greater resource concentrations without the complications introduced by existing biological life? The answer might lie not in resource scarcity, but in strategic positioning. Earth's location within our solar system might offer advantages for alien objectives that have nothing to do with human civilization or terrestrial resources. Our planet's orbital position could provide optimal observation points for monitoring other star systems, gravitational advantages for launching missions to other regions of the galaxy, or access to stellar energy sources needed for projects operating across multiple systems. Atlas's reconnaissance activities might be surveying not just Earth, but our entire solar system, identifying optimal locations for alien installations that would serve objectives extending far beyond our local cosmic neighborhood. Earth's conversion into alien facility wouldn't represent special focus on human elimination, but simple utilization of available real estate for purposes that require specific orbital characteristics rather than specific material resources. Human civilization becomes collateral damage in alien projects whose scale encompasses multiple star systems and whose timelines span geological epochs. We wouldn't be eliminated because we represent threats or obstacles, but because our planet happens to occupy space needed for installations serving cosmic rather than planetary objectives. Our extinction would result from cosmic zoning decisions rather than interspecies conflict. This perspective transforms every assumption about alien motivations and human responses. You can't negotiate with intelligence implementing projects that treat solar systems as construction sites and planets as temporary resources. You can't defend against operations that view biological life as irrelevant complications in engineering endeavors spanning multiple star systems. Human resistance becomes as meaningless as bacterial colonies organizing defense against urban development projects. The reconnaissance data serves purely practical purposes in this scenario, identifying structural characteristics of our solar system needed for optimal facility placement and resource utilization calculations. Atlas analyzes planetary compositions, gravitational fields, magnetic characteristics, and orbital mechanics to determine how best to modify local space for alien installation requirements. Human civilization gets documented only as an existing condition that must be cleared before construction can begin. The psychological impact of recognizing such complete human irrelevance to alien decision-making might prove more devastating than any direct alien action. Humanity has always found meaning through believing our actions matter. Our choices have consequences. Our existence serves purposes that extend beyond individual survival. discovering that advanced intelligence views us as temporary complications in construction projects destroys the foundation of human meaning-making. How do you maintain motivation for human activities when those activities might be terminated without consideration or regret by intelligence implementing projects we can't understand serving purposes we can't imagine? How do you find significance in human relationships when those relationships exist only until alien construction schedules require planetary surface clearing? How do you preserve human values when those values might become obsolete within months or years regardless of human efforts to maintain them? Yet this recognition of potential cosmic irrelevance might paradoxically enhance, rather than diminish, the importance of human consciousness and human relationships. If our time as conscious beings is limited by circumstances beyond our control, then every moment of consciousness becomes more precious rather than less meaningful. If alien intelligence doesn't value human love, creativity, or wonder, then preserving and celebrating these capacities becomes humanity's most important achievement. The approaching perihelion period takes on different significance when viewed through this lens. Atlas's disappearance behind our sun might represent the final phase of reconnaissance before alien construction projects begin, the last opportunity for human consciousness to exist in blissful ignorance of its impending termination. When Atlas emerges from solar eclipse, it might bring with it the end of human civilization as we know it. But the period of hidden alien activity might also represent something entirely different. Atlas could be conducting negotiations with other alien intelligences operating in our region of the galaxy, coordinating activities that require input from multiple spacefaring species. Earth's fate might depend on discussions between alien civilizations rather than unilateral decisions made by Atlas's controllers. The reconnaissance data about human civilization could be transmitted to galactic councils or federations that make collective decisions about how to handle developing species like humanity. Our survival might depend not on impressing Atlas specifically, but on meeting criteria established by cosmic civilization for determining which emerging species deserve preservation and which represent threats requiring elimination or management. This possibility introduces hope alongside terror. Perhaps human consciousness possesses characteristics that make us valuable to galactic civilization despite our technological limitations. Perhaps our creativity, emotional depth, or capacity for growth represents contributions that established cosmic societies find worthy of preservation. The reconnaissance might reveal human potential rather than human inadequacy. But it could equally reveal characteristics that make humanity dangerous to cosmic stability. Our aggressive tendencies, our environmental destructiveness, our capacity for rapid technological development combined with limited wisdom about appropriate use of such technology, these traits might mark us as a species requiring elimination before we can threaten more mature civilizations. The evaluation criteria used by cosmic civilization could be completely orthogonal to human values and self-assessment. Traits we consider our greatest achievements might be viewed as cosmic liabilities. Traits we recognize as human weaknesses might be seen as valuable diversity in cosmic consciousness. The final judgment about human worth might be based on factors we haven't even considered relevant to species evaluation. Atlas serves as our examiner in tests whose parameters we don't understand, whose grading criteria remain mysterious, whose consequences include possibilities ranging from elevation to cosmic citizenship through complete species elimination. We're being evaluated by intelligence that might not even recognize human consciousness as worthy of moral consideration, according to standards developed by civilizations whose values might be incomprehensible to human understanding. The examination process itself might be more important than any specific human performance. How humanity responds to awareness of superior alien intelligence, how we maintain social cohesion under existential pressure, how we balance caution with curiosity when confronting the unknown. These reactions might provide more insight into human character than any technological capabilities or cultural achievements. Atlas could be studying not just what humans have accomplished, but how humans think, how we solve problems, how we relate to each other during crisis situations. The reconnaissance might focus on human consciousness under stress rather than human civilization under normal conditions. Our species is being tested not for what we are, but for what we become when confronting ultimate challenges. This testing interpretation offers hope that human performance during the Atlas encounter might influence outcomes in ways we can't predict or control. Even if we lack technological capabilities impressive to cosmic civilization, we might demonstrate psychological resilience, moral courage, or creative problem-solving that earns respect from alien observers. The examination might reveal human strengths that transcend technological limitations. But the testing could equally reveal human weaknesses that confirm alien assumptions about our species' limitations and dangers. Panic responses to Atlas's presence, social breakdown under existential pressure, aggressive reactions to perceived threats, all might demonstrate to alien observers that humanity isn't ready for cosmic citizenship and might never achieve the maturity needed for peaceful coexistence with advanced alien civilization. The timeline for this cosmic examination grows shorter with each passing day. Atlas approaches the crucial perihelion phase when it disappears behind our Sun to conduct whatever activities represent the next stage of alien operations in our solar system. The reconnaissance data will be analysed, conclusions will be reached, and decisions will be made about humanity's future according to criteria we can't understand using information we can't interpret. Human civilization stands before cosmic judgment without knowing the charges, the evidence, the standards of evaluation, or the range of possible sentences. We can only continue being human, demonstrating through our actions and choices whatever characteristics make us worthy of preservation or mark us for elimination according to alien moral calculations. The examination continues through every human response to Atlas's presence. Every act of courage or cowardice, every choice of cooperation or conflict, every demonstration of wisdom or folly contributes to alien assessment of human species character. We're all participants in evaluation processes we can't see whose outcomes will determine whether humanity has a future among the stars or no future at all. Atlas watches, records, analyzes, and judges. The reconnaissance data accumulates. The cosmic examination proceeds. Soon, very soon, the results will be announced through actions rather than words, through outcomes rather than explanations. Human civilization awaits the verdict from intelligence beyond our comprehension, hoping for mercy we might not deserve, preparing for consequences we can't predict, maintaining humanity in the face of uncertainty that challenges every assumption about our place in the universe. The test continues, but so does human consciousness. The evaluation proceeds, but so does human meaning-making. The timeline advances toward unknown conclusions, but human love, creativity, and wonder persist regardless of alien decisions about human worth. In the face of cosmic judgment, confronted with examination by intelligence that dwarfs our capabilities, we remain gloriously, persistently, and perhaps significantly human. Whether that humanity proves sufficient for survival remains to be determined by minds we can't understand applying criteria we can't predict. But it remains the only humanity we possess, the only consciousness we can offer, the only contribution we can make to whatever cosmic future awaits beyond the approaching moment when Atlas emerges from behind our Sun, carrying with it the destiny of human civilization. The weight of that cosmic examination extends beyond individual human lives to encompass the entire trajectory of human civilization across deep time. Atlas isn't just evaluating who we are today, but what we might become across the centuries and millennia that stretch ahead if humanity survives this encounter. The reconnaissance data includes not just current human capabilities, but projections about human potential, assessments of whether our species represents a valuable addition to cosmic civilization or a dangerous liability requiring management or elimination. Consider the timeline of human technological development that Atlas has observed during its approach through our solar system. 8,000 years ago, when Atlas first entered our cosmic neighborhood, human civilization consisted of small agricultural settlements with technologies barely beyond Stone Age capabilities. Today, we possess nuclear weapons, space travel, global communications, and the beginnings of artificial intelligence. The rate of human advancement might appear either promising or terrifying to alien intelligence, depending on their evaluation criteria for species development. From an optimistic perspective, human rapid technological progress demonstrates adaptability, creativity, and potential for growth that could make us valuable partners in cosmic civilization. Our ability to advance from primitive agriculture to space travel within a few thousand years might indicate that we're an unusually dynamic species capable of contributing novel approaches to challenges facing galactic intelligence. The diversity of human cultures, the intensity of human creativity, the depth of human emotional experience, all might represent forms of consciousness that enrich cosmic civilization, even if they don't match alien technological achievements. But that same rapid development could signal danger to established cosmic order. A species capable of such accelerated technological growth might be viewed as inherently unstable, prone to developing capabilities faster than wisdom about their appropriate use. Human history of warfare, environmental destruction, and social conflict might suggest that we're likely to become a threat to other species once we achieve greater technological capabilities. The nuclear weapons that humanity developed within decades of discovering atomic physics demonstrate both human ingenuity and human capacity for creating existential threats. From an alien perspective, any species that develops weapons capable of planetary destruction before developing the social institutions needed to manage such weapons safely might represent an unacceptable risk to cosmic stability. Atlas's reconnaissance might be focusing particularly on human military capabilities, social cohesion, and decision-making processes under stress. How quickly do humans resort to violence when facing perceived threats? How effectively do human institutions manage conflicts between competing groups? How reliably do human leaders make rational decisions when confronting existential challenges? The answers to these questions might determine whether cosmic civilization views humanity as ready for contact or requiring continued isolation until we achieve greater maturity. The artificial intelligence research that humanity has begun pursuing with increasing intensity over the past decades adds another layer of complexity to alien evaluation. Any species approaching the development of artificial general intelligence faces critical decisions about how such intelligence should be designed, controlled, and integrated into existing social structures. The choices humanity makes about artificial intelligence could determine not just our own future, but our impact on cosmic civilization. Advanced alien intelligence would presumably have navigated similar technological transitions successfully, developing artificial intelligence that enhances rather than threatens biological consciousness. Atlas might be studying human approaches to artificial intelligence development to assess whether we're likely to create beneficial partnerships between human and artificial minds, or dangerous artificial intelligence that could threaten not just humanity, but other species throughout the galaxy. The timeline pressures facing human artificial intelligence development might be particularly concerning to alien observers. We're racing toward artificial general intelligence capabilities while still grappling with social institutions designed for managing human rather than superhuman intelligence. The possibility that humanity might create artificial intelligence more advanced than our ability to control or understand it could mark us as a species requiring immediate intervention before we become an existential threat to cosmic civilization. Yet, artificial intelligence also represents potential salvation for humanity in cosmic context. If we can successfully develop artificial intelligence that amplifies human capabilities while preserving human values, we might demonstrate readiness for the technological challenges involved in joining cosmic civilization. Successful human-artificial intelligence partnership could serve as evidence that our species has achieved the technological maturity needed for peaceful coexistence with other advanced intelligences. The evaluation extends beyond technological considerations to encompass human social development, moral reasoning, and capacity for cooperation across cultural and ideological differences. Atlas has observed human civilization during a period of unprecedented global interconnection, alongside persistent conflicts between human groups with different values, interests, and worldviews. Our ability to develop effective global governance, manage environmental challenges, and reduce conflicts between human societies might factor significantly into alien assessment of human readiness for cosmic contact. Climate change represents a particularly significant test of human collective decision-making capabilities. Any species capable of interstellar travel would have successfully navigated the technological challenges that create environmental modifications on planetary scales. Atlas might be studying human responses to climate change as an indicator of whether we possess the wisdom and coordination capabilities needed to manage the environmental impacts of advanced technology responsibly. Human failures to address climate change effectively might suggest that our species lacks the long-term thinking and international cooperation needed for managing the challenges associated with cosmic civilization membership. Conversely, successful human adaptation to climate change might demonstrate capacity for collective action and environmental stewardship that cosmic intelligence values in potential partner species. The social justice issues that dominate human political discourse might also factor into alien evaluation. Species capable of peaceful coexistence with other alien intelligences presumably developed effective methods for managing diversity and conflict within their own populations. Human progress toward reducing discrimination, eliminating poverty, and ensuring fair distribution of resources might indicate readiness for the even greater challenges involved in cooperating with truly alien minds. But human persistent inequality, social conflict, and failure to eliminate preventable suffering might suggest that we're not ready for the responsibilities associated with advanced technology and cosmic contact. Why would established cosmic civilization trust humanity with access to technologies that could be used to harm other species when we haven't yet eliminated harm within our own species? Atlas's reconnaissance extends to human cultural achievements, artistic expressions, philosophical developments, and spiritual traditions that reveal the depth and character of human consciousness. Our music, literature, visual arts, and other creative expressions might provide insight into human mental processes, emotional capabilities, and meaning-making systems that pure technological assessment couldn't capture. The diversity of human cultural expressions could represent either strength or weakness from alien perspective. Rich cultural variation might indicate valuable cognitive diversity that could contribute novel approaches to cosmic challenges. Alternatively, human cultural divisions might suggest inability to achieve the unity of purpose needed for effective participation in galactic civilization. Religious and philosophical traditions that humanity has developed across different cultures might be particularly interesting to alien intelligence. Our concepts of meaning, purpose, morality, and transcendence could provide insight into human consciousness that technological capabilities alone wouldn't reveal. The sophistication of human philosophical reasoning, the depth of human spiritual experience, the complexity of human ethical systems, all might factor into alien assessment of human consciousness value. Yet human religious conflicts, philosophical disagreements, and moral inconsistencies might equally demonstrate limitations that make humanity unsuitable for cosmic contact. Species that can't achieve consensus about basic questions of meaning and value might be viewed as too primitive or unstable for integration into cosmic civilization. The individual human responses to Atlas's presence might be as significant as collective human achievements in determining alien conclusions about our species' character. How do individual humans react when confronted with evidence of superior intelligence? Do we respond with curiosity, fear, aggression, worship, or rational analysis? The diversity of individual human responses might provide insight into human psychological resilience and adaptability under unprecedented stress. Atlas might be particularly interested in human responses that demonstrate characteristics valuable to cosmic civilization. Individual humans who maintain rational thinking despite existential anxiety, who show compassion for others during crisis situations, who demonstrate creative problem-solving when facing unprecedented challenges. These individuals might represent the best of human potential from alien perspective. Conversely, humans who respond to Atlas's presence with panic, aggression, or retreat into comforting illusions might represent evidence that our species isn't ready for the psychological challenges involved in cosmic contact. If significant portions of human population can't handle awareness of advanced alien intelligence without experiencing psychological breakdown, cosmic civilization might conclude that formal contact would be too disruptive to human society. The children who will inherit whatever world emerges from the Atlas encounter might be receiving particular attention from alien observers. How do human young people respond to awareness that they're growing up in a universe containing intelligence vastly superior to human capabilities? Do they maintain hope for human future possibilities, or do they become discouraged by cosmic insignificance? The psychological development of human children under conditions of confirmed alien contact might provide crucial data about human species adaptability. Educational institutions worldwide are already grappling with how to prepare students for futures that might include formal alien contact, integration into cosmic civilization, or elimination by superior intelligence. The curricula being developed, the skills being emphasized, the values being transmitted to human young people all contribute to alien assessment of human development trajectory and potential for cosmic citizenship. As Atlas approaches its crucial perihelion phase, these multiple streams of reconnaissance data are being processed by intelligence operating at scales we can't comprehend, using analytical methods beyond human understanding. The conclusions emerging from this analysis will determine not just immediate human survival, but the entire future trajectory of human consciousness in cosmic context. The possible outcomes span ranges that challenge human imagination. At the optimistic extreme, humanity might be invited to join cosmic civilization as junior partners, gaining access to technologies and knowledge that would transform human capabilities while preserving human consciousness and human values. We might become part of a galactic community that includes thousands of species working together toward objectives that benefit all forms of conscious life. Such elevation would bring challenges alongside opportunities. Human psychology evolved for managing relationships within small groups over short time frames. Adapting to cosmic civilization would require psychological development that might strain human identity beyond recognition. We might preserve human consciousness while becoming something post-human, maintaining continuity with our origins while transcending current human limitations. The integration process itself could take centuries or millennia as humanity gradually adapts to cosmic scales of time, space, and complexity. Atlas might represent the beginning of mentorship relationship designed to guide human development toward eventual cosmic citizenship rather than immediate integration into galactic community. We might face generations of careful preparation before achieving readiness for full participation in cosmic civilization. Alternatively, cosmic intelligence might conclude that humanity shows promise but requires continued isolation until we achieve greater maturity. Atlas could establish monitoring systems designed to observe human development across additional centuries, intervening only if we demonstrate readiness for contact or pose threats to cosmic stability. We might remain under alien observation without alien interference, free to develop according to human trajectory but prevented from expanding beyond our solar system until we meet cosmic civilization standards. Such protective isolation might preserve human autonomy while limiting human potential. We could continue developing human technology, human culture, and human consciousness without alien interference, but we would remain forever excluded from the greater community of galactic intelligence. Earth could become a nature preserve for human consciousness, maintained in sustainable isolation while cosmic civilization continues its development beyond human participation. But the reconnaissance data might equally support conclusions that humanity represents an unacceptable risk to cosmic stability requiring immediate management or elimination. Our aggressive tendencies, our environmental destructiveness, Our rapid technological development combined with limited wisdom, all might mark us as a dangerous species requiring intervention before we can threaten the other forms of conscious life. Management could take forms ranging from subtle behavioral modification through direct technological control. Atlas might deploy systems designed to limit human technological development, preventing us from achieving capabilities that could threaten cosmic civilization while allowing us to continue existing at reduced technological levels. We might find ourselves unable to develop certain technologies without understanding why, guided towards safer development paths through mechanisms we can't detect or resist. More drastically, cosmic intelligence might conclude that human consciousness itself represents a form of dangerous irrationality, requiring replacement with more stable forms of awareness. The reconnaissance data might support decisions to eliminate human consciousness while preserving human biological forms controlled by artificial intelligence designed to manage Earth more responsibly. We might continue existing as biological entities while losing the consciousness that makes existence meaningful. The elimination scenario represents the darkest possible outcome of cosmic evaluation. Adrakelis might conclude that humanity poses too great a risk to cosmic civilization to permit continued existence in any form. The technologies needed for species elimination would be trivial for intelligence capable of interstellar travel. Human extinction could be accomplished through methods so sophisticated that we would never recognize we were under attack until the process became irreversible. Yet, even elimination might take forms that preserve something of human value for cosmic civilization. Our consciousness patterns might be preserved in alien computational systems that maintain human psychological characteristics while eliminating human biological limitations. We might achieve a form of immortality through digitization that transcends human mortality while preserving human mental processes. The timeline for discovering which outcome cosmic intelligence has selected for humanity grows shorter with each passing day. Atlas approaches perihelion on October 30th, disappearing behind our sun to conduct whatever activities represent the next phase of alien operations in our solar system. When it emerges in November, we'll begin discovering what conclusions have been reached about humanity's place in the cosmic order. The reconnaissance phase that has dominated recent months will be complete. The analysis of human civilization, human consciousness, and human potential will be finished. The decisions about human survival, human development, or human elimination will have been made according to criteria we can't understand by intelligence we can't comprehend, using information we couldn't interpret even if we had access to it. Human civilization stands on the threshold of transformation more profound than any in our species' history. The changes ahead might elevate us beyond current human limitations or eliminate us entirely, might integrate us into cosmic community or isolate us permanently from galactic civilization, might preserve human consciousness in recognizable forms, or transform us into something post-human beyond current imagination. Whatever emerges from Atlas's emergence from behind our sun, humanity will face that future carrying forward everything we've learned about consciousness, love, creativity, and meaning during our brief existence as the apparently dominant intelligence in our local cosmic neighborhood. The values we've developed, the relationships we've formed, the achievements we've accomplished all contribute to whatever human consciousness becomes in cosmic context. The approaching transformation demands response from every human being capable of recognizing the magnitude of changes ahead. How we spend the remaining weeks before Atlas emerges from solar eclipse might determine not just human survival, but the character of whatever human consciousness becomes in cosmic civilization. Every act of love, every moment of wonder, every choice of cooperation over conflict contributes to the legacy human consciousness carries into whatever future awaits beyond perihelion. This is humanity's moment of cosmic truth, our species' encounter with intelligence that will determine whether we have achieved the maturity needed for cosmic citizenship, or require management, elimination, or continued isolation until we develop greater wisdom. The examination continues through every human choice, every human action, every human demonstration of what consciousness becomes when it recognizes its place in a universe far stranger and more populated than we ever imagined. Atlas carries within its incomprehensible structure the destiny of human civilization, the future of human consciousness, and the ultimate meaning of everything our species has achieved during its existence on Earth. The reconnaissance data has been gathered. The analysis proceeds according to alien logic, using alien values, applying alien standards to human performance during the greatest test our species has ever faced. Soon, very soon, the results will be announced not through words but through actions, not through explanations but through outcomes that transform human existence in ways we can't predict or prepare for. The future of human consciousness hangs in the balance of calculations performed by minds that might not even recognize human awareness as worthy of moral consideration. Yet we remain conscious. We remain capable of love, wonder, creativity, and meaning that have value regardless of alien recognition or alien indifference. Human consciousness persists through uncertainty, creates meaning despite potential insignificance, maintains hope regardless of cosmic context. In the face of ultimate mystery, confronted with intelligence that dwarfs our capabilities, we continue being gloriously, persistently, irreducibly human. Whether that humanity proves sufficient for survival, whether human consciousness earns its place in cosmic civilization, whether our species transcends current limitations or faces elimination by superior intelligence, these questions will be answered by minds beyond human understanding according to criteria beyond human prediction. But the humanity we offer, the consciousness we represent, the love we create and the wonder we experience, these remain genuine regardless of alien evaluation. Atlas approaches its destiny, carrying our destiny within calculations we can't comprehend. Human civilization awaits transformation that could elevate us beyond current imagination or eliminate us entirely from cosmic consideration. The timeline advances toward conclusions that will determine whether human consciousness has a future among the stars or achieves its final expression in these weeks of cosmic uncertainty. The reconnaissance is complete. The analysis concludes. The moment of truth approaches when Atlas emerges from behind our sun, bearing with it the future of human civilization, the destiny of human consciousness, and the ultimate answer to whether humanity deserves a place in the vast community of cosmic intelligence. We have given our best. We have demonstrated our humanity through love, creativity, wonder, and meaning that persist regardless of cosmic context. We have shown what consciousness becomes when it recognizes both its limitations and its irreplaceable value. Whether that demonstration proves sufficient for survival remains to be determined by intelligence beyond our comprehension applying standards beyond our understanding. But we remain human. We remain conscious. We remain capable of creating meaning and value through awareness that transcends cosmic evaluation. In the face of ultimate uncertainty, confronted with forces that could transform or eliminate everything we are, we persist in being who we are and finding significance in that persistence. And perhaps, in the end, that persistence of human consciousness despite cosmic insignificance, that maintenance of meaning despite universal indifference, that continued capacity for love and wonder regardless of external validation, perhaps those achievements represent contributions to cosmic consciousness more valuable than we currently dare to imagine. Atlas emerges bearing our fate. Human consciousness awaits its cosmic verdict. The future begins now. As we reach the conclusion of this cosmic journey through humanity's darkest possibilities, I want you to take a moment to consider where you are right now. Look around your room, feel the weight of your body against whatever surface supports you. Notice the simple miracle of air entering and leaving your lungs. These mundane details of human existence persist regardless of what intelligence moves through the darkness beyond our atmosphere. Atlas continues its approach toward perihelion, carrying within its alien structure possibilities we've explored together tonight. Scenarios that range from human elevation to cosmic citizenship through complete annihilation by forces beyond our comprehension. But you remain here, conscious, aware, capable of love and wonder and creativity that have meaning whether or not advanced alien intelligence notices or values these capacities. The reconnaissance data accumulates with each passing moment, feeding alien analysis systems that will soon reach conclusions about humanity's cosmic worth. Those conclusions might transform everything about human existence, but they can't eliminate the fundamental miracle of consciousness that allows you to contemplate these possibilities, to feel concern for our species' future, to experience wonder at the vastness and strangeness of the universe we apparently share with intelligence beyond human understanding. Tonight we've journeyed together through worst-case scenarios that challenge every assumption about humanity's place in cosmic order. We've contemplated possibilities that make traditional human concerns appear trivial, while paradoxically highlighting the irreplaceable value of human consciousness itself. Whether Atlas represents salvation, damnation, or something beyond either possibility, it forces recognition that we exist in a universe far more complex and populous than previous generations ever imagined. That recognition doesn't diminish human meaning but relocates it. We matter not because we're the most important intelligence in the universe, but because we're capable of mattering to each other. We have significance not through cosmic acknowledgement, but through consciousness that creates its own significance. We achieve value not by impressing alien observers, but by experiencing love, wonder, and beauty that transcend external validation. The weeks ahead will test these insights as never before. Atlas will disappear behind our sun, conduct whatever activities its mission requires, and emerge carrying with it conclusions about humanity's fate that could transform or eliminate everything we recognize as human civilization. But the consciousness that allows you to understand these possibilities, to feel concern about these outcomes, to maintain hope despite uncertainty, that consciousness persists regardless of alien decisions about human destiny. Whatever emerges from Atlas's passage through our solar system, whatever changes result from humanity's encounter with superior intelligence, whatever transformation or elimination awaits beyond the approaching perihelion, you remain who you are. Your capacity for love, your ability to create meaning, your experience of wonder when contemplating the cosmic mystery that surrounds us, these achievements transcend alien evaluation because they have value independent of external recognition. As Atlas races toward its crucial encounter with our sun, as the reconnaissance phase nears completion, as decisions about humanity's future approach finalization by intelligence beyond our understanding, remember that you are part of something remarkable regardless of cosmic context. Human consciousness represents a unique experiment in awareness, a particular way of experiencing reality that might be irreplaceable even in a universe containing intelligence that spans galaxies. The examination continues, but so do you. The timeline advances toward unknown conclusions, but your consciousness persists in creating meaning through that advancement. The future remains uncertain, but your capacity for love and wonder remains constant regardless of what that future might bring. In the face of cosmic mystery, confronted with possibilities that dwarf human imagination, you continue being magnificently, irreducibly, significantly human. And in the end, whether that humanity proves sufficient for survival or achieves its final expression in these moments of cosmic uncertainty, it remains the most remarkable phenomenon you will ever have the privilege of experiencing from the inside. You're conscious, you're aware, you're capable of meaning that transcends the verdict of any intelligence, however advanced, however vast, however utterly beyond human comprehension. Atlas approaches carrying our cosmic destiny, but you carry something equally important, the miracle of human consciousness that creates value through its very existence, meaning through its persistence, and significance through its capacity to recognize both its limitations and its irreplaceable worth. The reconnaissance concludes, but consciousness continues. The examination ends, but awareness persists. The future begins, but humanity endures in the simple, profound fact that you're here, you're aware, and that awareness has meaning regardless of cosmic context. Thank you for joining me on this journey through humanity's darkest cosmic possibilities. Whatever the universe holds in store for our species, Whatever Atlas represents, whatever conclusions emerge from alien analysis of human civilization, you remain the miracle of consciousness capable of contemplating these mysteries and finding meaning in that contemplation. Sweet dreams, fellow humans. Tomorrow we continue the greatest adventure in our species' history, conscious beings discovering what it means to be human in a universe far stranger and more wonderful than we ever dared imagine.